Not that. Fry out the brain. It's America. You can't be mean to me. I'm gonna make a Trump song. This is America. You can't be mean to me. Okay, wait. There's a thing I wanted to talk about really quick. What is this? Yeah, share that, bro. I'm just saying, bro. On March 17th, 2025, he was one of 5 Republican authors of the bill that would designate Trump derangement syndrome as an officially recognized mental illness in Minnesota. Now, by the way, with their own logic, this means any person that says Trump derangement syndrome also does the same activities, all right? Arrest and child abuse charge. On March 17th, okay, same date, he was also arrested in Bloomington, Minnesota on suspicion of soliciting a minor for sex during a sting operation. A Minnesota representative. So, bro, if you say TDS to me, or if you pass a law to put Trump on the $250 bill, you know, we gotta question what you're up to. What are you hiding? What are you hiding from us, bro? Crazy. Crazy, bro. Crazy. Do you think libs of TikTok, do you think all these right-wing Republican accounts that claim they care about kids, all these Republicans, do you think they posted about this? I don't think so. I doubt it. How about them Epstein files? Those are definitely out. Nice. They not like us. Certified. Woo! Yo, dude, that's crazy. What are the chances that this is my next recommended post, bro? What are the chances that this is my next dude? What are the dude? Bro, there's no way this is the next recommended post. Was that... Wait a second, dude. How did they know? The AI is processing my voice that quickly? Holy shit, dude. What? Bro. It's the Not Like Us cover, but it's on the one house. It's on the one big house. The one big important house. Whoever makes a song with this cover art is gonna be disappeared. TLDR, it was Oswald. Bro, we found out so much about that FDR or JFK files, whatever. Transparency isn't optional, it's essential, as they keep on not being transparent about literally anything. FBI hands over Biden-era weaponization scandal documents to Jim Jordan. Remember when Jim Jordan covered up sexual assault when he was a high school wrestling coach? That was cool. That was also really cool. I love how they're all involved in child abuse. It's awesome, bro. That's why they call everyone else that word. They're trying to cover up for something. They're trying to compensate. What? I'm on him tough. I'm gonna do my stuff.
But if that's the game that Roberts is going to play, can you show me when Roberts excoriated the leader of the Democrats, Chuck Schumer? When, one, we had someone in an almost unprecedented manner leak the Dobbs decision, probably one of Roberts' clerks, which was already bad enough. And shucks, we weren't able to find out who leaked it. There's only like 20 potential people that could have, but shucks, we just can't find. Where's Roberts on that? And then once it's leaked, Chuck Schumer directly calls out Kavanaugh and says he will pay, he will reap the whirlwind. Then Democrats ignore the obvious law that says you can't, for the purpose of intimidating jurors or judges.
Roberts did condemn Schumer, so he did this. He did a whole rant. I can admit when I'm wrong about something. Stop saying dumb shit confidently without actually understanding it first challenge level Trump impossible. Hi, this is the politics. What's up? Gang, gang. Certified. You know what that guy is. If you say that word, you know it's a universal code for you know what. So FBI. All right, we got one. All right, that's what they call into lines and they say that word, because they want to distract from what they really do. Anyone that calls in and says that, you know what they do, bro. You know what they do. Listen to the Kendrick Lamar song "Not Like Us." He exposes everything in there. Just remember that, dude. Anyone that calls in and says that, it's not a. There's not a chance I was criticizing child abusers, and that guy calls in and says that. He's mad. He's mad that I was criticizing child abusers. He had to stand up for his people. So, I respect him standing up for his own. But calm down, buddy. Howdy.
Hi.
How's it going? What do you want to chat about?
Yeah, I was just watching the stream, and I wanted to ask you something.
Okay.
So I'm a casual politic person. I don't know all those gritty details and everything.
I'm a competitive politics gamer.
No, I'm not I'm a casual gamer, but I listen to you guys' politics a lot. So
Yeah.
but
Sure.
I'm curious about something, and my curiosity is, how do you combat what's going on now? How do you do that with Trump disregarding court orders? How do you do that with Congress pretty much enabling his actions? How do you combat that now?
Honestly, it goes back to the American people and people in any society, giving power, because economically, civilly, in any sense, the people hold the power. I would say right now we're living in a post-constitutional moment, which is also what Project 2025 says, but they are the ones doing it, of course. But we're fighting for the soul of America, not in the Joe Biden way, but in terms of our moral foundations. If we respect law, if we care about our fellow, and by fellow people, I mean all humans in general. If we care about how human beings are treated, if we really care about any moral standing, if we care about our neighbors, or if we even care about ourselves. So right now, the propaganda for these movements, and it's the same in every dictatorship, North Korea, Nazi Germany, fascist Italy, the propaganda is very effective. It's very emotionally provoking. So especially for people that don't understand much about politics, the arguments can sound really, really good, especially if there's already pre-biases that you already have. When you already have biases, and that's where they can violate the civil rights of, the right to due process. They can send a brown person to detention or to a labor camp who might be completely innocent. But the American people are not going to show as much sympathy for that person. It's not going to be as big of a story, because they're going for groups that the American people have deemed undesirable, at least, enough American people. So what needs to happen is enough American people need to say this is not okay. And to the extent where they actually speak up about it, and for that ideology to spread, and we need to understand why it's important to care about people, why it's important to have law. But the issue is, the big problem is that usually if people fall to this kind of rhetoric, it takes a big fracture in the system for people to realize that they effed up. They don't realize they effed up until it's too late, until some shit has gone down. So like right now, I would just say keep on spreading the word as much as possible. Try to lead people to water. You can't make them drink, but plant as many seeds as possible. Especially talk to people who are not involved in politics, who are new to politics, and learn how to communicate with them. It's a very difficult, complicated process. But yeah, we have to just do our best. Yeah, dude, we can do our best. Try it.
Well,
we have participation trophies. Yeah.
I would agree with you, but I think I think that you gave us an example of North Korea and Germany. In Germany specifically, they switched up just because they lost the war. But those people in Germany were still living through a Nazi era. They
Hmm.
couldn't combat it at the time. And if they tried to, they were killed. That's just like North Korea. So you're in America, and America's a much bigger place than those two countries, but it's like
Yeah.
you have unlimited amount of power focused at the top right now. Like here's the question. What makes you think that those people at the top really care about what we do now? Like
They don't
you could
care until enough
exactly.
people care to be disruptive. And being
But
disruptive can even be people like people protesting Tesla. If there literally was a full all out boycott for everyone on Tesla, shit would change quick because Elon Musk would actually be. He has a lot of loans with Saudi Arabia and Russia that they'd be knocking for. They're involved in a mafia business. That would actually screw him over. That's why if you look at his interviews in the past 2 days, his face is drained. You can see the outline of a skeleton. So like even not even a strike, but even like Coke versus Pepsi. If everyone bought Coke because they kept their DEI policies and stopped buying Pepsi, if everyone did that, all those financial transactions would speak. But like what you said about Germany, we're in the period before the violence starts happening at a mass level. So I would say right now we have a clock. We have a 2 years at most, a year and a half really, because we're already in March of 2025. We have a year and a half to have a huge change before we get to that point. So I would say to everyone, get involved now. Now is the safe time to get involved because if we don't get involved now, it will be the dangerous part. It will be the dangerous part in a year or two if we do not, or 3 years, whatever it might be. If we need to be out there now. We need to be messaging now. We need to post as much as possible. Now is the time to do it as much as humanly possible. And yeah, just keep on trying to share as much as you can.
okay, so and again, I want to say I kind of agree with you, but let me bring up this point then, and this is a point that I think maybe it's just me, and I'm maybe I'm being naive on this, but you said about Tesla stock. Yes, it's going down, but what does that mean to a person who's already rich? If I have $400 billion in my account, I lose 200 billion. Guess what? I still have 200 billion. What the hell does that mean to me? I'm still rich.
Because his wealth is fake. So like his wealth is fake, and a lot of his loans for Twitter, for example, are financed by a lot of Saudi Arabian and Russia investors. So it's leveraged against his Tesla stock. So if his Tesla stock goes to a certain level, it really screws over his cash supply. So he has a lot of. I think he only has as far as cash on hand versus wealth, it's probably like a percentage point of his actual total wealth. Maybe like 5% of his wealth is actual cash he can spend. So the more cash he needs to liquidate, the better. And like the only reason he was worth 450 million or $1 billion is because Tesla stock went up crazy after the election. Now he's back down to like 200 billion. So just Tesla stock going from what it was 2 months ago to now, he lost like 150 to 200 billion dollars in net worth, which matters with the leveraging of the loans, and it does really hit the growth potential of his companies for the future. And his company is Tesla is very overvalued. Their stock is based on hopes and dreams, and they're assessed as like a tech company almost, or evaluated as like a tech company. So I mean, it could put pressure. It's not going to fix things, but I'm saying like those financial transactions every single day. As long as we have somewhere else to put our money, we should definitely. Like I said with Coke and Pepsi, if you have an option, buy Coke. If you drink soda, it just those small things can leave at least somewhat of an impact, and they're pretty passive things we can do.
Okay, okay. I can see your point on that, and I mean I'm not a financial person, so I don't understand the whole liquidation of their fund. I just see dollar signs in their account, or when they say like how much they're worth. I mean I kind of get it, but I don't fully understand it. So it just sounds to me like so it's pretty much like fake money that you just transition numbers from account to account. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's
So I
worth.
could
It's not cash on hand. It could be cash on hand, but there's a whole process of getting it out of businesses and yeah.
okay. So then my next question would be, you say like we need to get out there, but I see people on the left. There is sort of infighting in terms of which direction you should go. In terms of just like we should like I see like people like Cenk Uygur on the Young Turks saying we should capitulate to this side and be more reasonable and be more understanding and try to get them to our side. And then I see more people on the maybe like like Sam Cedar or Kyle Kulinski is like, no, F those guys. Like, they're completely unreasonable at this point. We need to just fight and do this. And I'm curious, what is your stance on those two, or do you have a completely different stance on the whole thing?
Anyone that stands up for equality and our Constitution and freedom moving forward and stands in stark contrast to Trump, I want them on this side pushing against authoritarianism. That doesn't mean like a super conservative person, but I think, as long as you're willing to fight what's happening, not capitulating like Chuck Schumer, for example. It's not about ideology at this point. It's about fighters and non-fighters. So like Cenk is completely bought out. I think he's paid off by Polymarket. His studio is called Polymarket Studios. Him and Anna are done politically. They will go to wherever the money is. They will go to wherever the populist bullshit is. They don't have real principles. They don't have real values. They're playing cover for the MAGA base, and they're funded by Peter Thiel. So them, I don't care about them at all anymore. I don't want to talk. I mean, I don't want any. No one should be watching TYT ever again. For sure. Sam Cedar is still really good. I'd say like Brian Tyler Cohen's really good. Yeah, pretty much just like Cenk is terrible. Anyone that's like a communist or just like really stupid, I don't agree with that. But the American people who are just basic, we care about healthcare, we care about money getting out of politics in some regard, we care about the rule of law and our Constitution. All of those people should be uniting on those different principles, and I think that's actually a chance to move people more left on certain positions, because you have to question like, why did my ideology lead to Trump? Maybe we should be more collective, and maybe we should support our neighbors more than we have.
And I agree, but it's interesting to me because I see people on the right, and they have a coalition of things. Like for abortion, for example, years and years I would hear like abortion should be a state right, and every right wing person would say that. But then when they get it, you hear them now like, now let's nationalize it, right? It's like they had a complete and full message propaganda completely, and they stayed on message for the entire time until they got it. The left doesn't do that. The left is, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing is up for debate, but they have multiple issues that they can't seem to organize to agree upon how or what should be done. Like there's people who will say, yeah, you should get universal health care. Okay, how so? Do you want to do Medicare for all? Do you want to do like a Canadian system? Do you want to do a Norwegian system? There's no simple agreement on, what is the right thing to do, right? Even the minimum wage thing, it was $15, now it's $17. Then somebody was like 25. What is a consistent message that the left organized can bring together that says this is a united front, this is what we stand on, and then once you do get in power, maybe then you can have a debate about, okay, maybe how much we should actually do or things like that. Like, but right now there's not a consistent message. Bernie's doing one thing, he's talking about the oligarchies, and then you got Chuck Schumer doing his BS stuff, whatever he's doing. Then you got, people, other people are just everywhere now. There's no consistent message on the Democratic side, or even just independents in general, because everything is everywhere. So how do you get to where the right is when they're just consistent? Even if it's BS, they're just consistent with it, and they'll blunt you with that message consistently.
Yeah, well, the right wing is able to do that because they don't have any independent thought, and they have no principles or ideology, so they need to pick up random ideologies that make no coherent sense. So they can easily just say, I'm anti-healthcare, I'm anti-government, and we'll let the free market fairies figure it out. Like the magical free market is going to fix all solutions. So it's really easy for them. They could be anti-progress in general. Democrats need to actually be independent thinkers that have different solutions, and we have like complicated thoughts, and we don't just like follow one charismatic leader or just claim that religion gives us our entire moral structure. So it's a lot harder to be a free thinker. It's a lot more difficult. Infighting is really good in a party. It's good that we can't decide on a message, because if you decide on a message in lockstep, like all these Republicans are under Trump, you have a dictator, you have a cult leader. So it's a good thing for like when it comes to our voter base and their ability to think, but it's a terrible thing when it comes to political efficacy. So I definitely agree. There needs to be some standard basis of here's Joe Biden ran on a lot of policies that were really good when it comes to labor rights and unions and wages, and I'd say expanding Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Medicare negotiating all drug prices in America is a policy I think most Democrats can get behind. Medicare negotiating or Medicare being at least something people can buy into if they want to, versus a private plan. At least that. Someone like that's actually for I think what's his name, Murky and I can't remember his name. You know what I'm talking about. Chris Murphy and Murky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like they're for the having some type of public option. Maybe we could expand that bigger, but it's really about like we need our anti-corruption policy that's a baseline for being a Democrat. I think that's something even John Fetterman would get on board with. Okay, some type of anti-big money policy, maybe some type of financial disclosure policy that if you're in Congress, you need to have this level of finances disclosed, and just message on like what Trump does. Trump did not spend any money on positive campaigns for Republicans. He just made the other side look like evil, like devils and like chaos agents that want to destroy all of society. He just demonized the other side, beat down the other side. You don't even have to advocate for yourself. So just bring up things like Mike Johnson never reporting any of his finances. Bring up the shadow government they have. But I do agree that Democrats can't really rely on conspiracy because they're too smart for their own good. So they need some type of policy to actually push for that's going to make the system better, especially for like myself too. I definitely agree that I don't want to go back to the system that brought us Donald Trump. I want to do something better. And I think people are not going to vote for Democrats if they don't support something better. And when people want change in the system, and we do have issues with money in politics, people are going to get change, whether it's through fascism or progressivism. So we need to do trust busting, by the way. I think trust busting, monopoly busting and trust busting, I feel like can be a good policy that Democrats have been pretty strong on. So I don't know.
I think that would be a good policy, but I don't know if the majority would agree with you on that. And the reason I say that is because let me run this by you. And I have a point to this, but I just want to see what you're going to say to this question real quick. Do you put any stock in blaming the voters at all for the choice for the vote they made, or do you think it's more of the politician's fault?
That's like asking if someone is at fault for like staying in a really abusive relationship. I think some people in those environments can do things to get out of it that are better, but I do think there's a certain level of free will people don't have when they're lied to constantly. And these algorithms create this entire world around them where they're being gaslit to believe an entire different version of reality. So you could take a very intelligent person, and if you only showed them Fox News, they'd believe a lot of crazy shit. But they're a very, very intelligent person. And some of those people actually are like racist, and they like seeing brown people removed from the country, for example. Or they might like seeing black people get harassed at protest, or they might enjoy seeing gay people get pushed out of bars or whatever. Or when they tear up the Black Lives Matter street, they're like, yeah, get rid of that diversity hires, or whatever the hell they say. So some people like being casually racist for sure. Some people enjoy seeing other people suffer. But for the median voter, I think it shows the inclination towards selfishness if you support someone like Trump. But I would also say that the version of Democrats that they give is very weak. They give no narrative for themselves. They don't give a strong narrative at all. And the Republicans give a very strong negative narrative about Democrats. So I would agree, like, if I imagine myself in their shoes, which they cannot do for us because if they could do that, they'd probably be in a different ideology. But I could imagine just like being blasted. You're watching Joe Rogan. You're watching Stephen A. Smith, who's now doing Nazi propaganda.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
If the entire media environment, including white, black, Hispanic, every demographic is covered. Every type of person is covered. They have infiltrated. They own 80% of media. So I can understand. I would not put the moral culpability on that person for being lied to by these people that do know better. Elon Musk knows he's lying. JD Vance knows he's lying. The place where I do put blame is the moral inability to see past themselves. Having that propensity towards selfishness versus empathy. That's where I put blame on people, is just not caring about their neighbors. 100%, that part.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I put the blame on all parties. I put it on all parties because what you just said is totally correct. When you asked me, when you said, how do I keep people in an abusive relationship? I would say this. My question back would be like, well, you had 10 years to pass the test. There's been 10 years of this man, if not more, of his buffoonery, like from the 6 bankruptcies to conning his employees. There's been more years of you having an open book test and you continuously fail it. That can't be just on the politicians. You have to take some ownership of that, especially when like you said, like it's an open book test. It gives you all the answers, and you still failed. There has to be some onus on the voters on that part. And you have a phone, you have the internet. If you really care, if you really cared about these issues, let's just say like they say, like Republicans will say, oh, I care about abortion. Okay, well if you look it up, Democrat abortions went down. It's easy to look up, but you believe the BS because it fits your narrative. So now when
Yeah.
things happen to you and you're like shocked by it, who does it blame for that? You can't blame the people who. You can't even blame the politicians because they pretty much told you what we're going to do. You just didn't listen. Again, you
Yeah,
failed
but if
an
you're a
open
casual
book test.
viewer, you probably don't even hear what they say. A lot of them, and that's where I differentiate.
But again,
People like
that's
people genuinely don't understand what I'm saying because they have not seen it, and if they do see it, they don't have any way to process it or frame it. And our civic education in America sucks. And I think like it is sad that we need to communicate with people on a different level, but there is a truth to, Bernie Sanders' presentation can reach certain people that Kamala Harris's cannot, or AOC versus Kamala Harris, because they're both women.
I agree.
And I've brought up before to people that, the intuition is going to be not running women again. But that's not the issue. Hillary Clinton and Kamala were just really bad candidates as far as messaging goes.
I agree with that too. I agree with that
and
too.
it's like, we need to adjust our messaging to where the voters are. And I do agree. And I guess I'll just end on this. I guess fixing the narrative behind the party and shifting the moral beliefs people have is a big deal. And we know through our, we're not going to have any studies anymore, but through psychological studies we do have, like the Stanford prison experiment and experiments like that, people can be very, very, very easily manipulated to be drones, to just be like literally following orders. And even if they realize, oh shit, I might be wrong, they're too proud, or the cognitive dissonance is physically painful for them to admit, or they just get the people that actually do turn, they're in dangerous positions, in life because the ruling party is kind of scary. And, that's how elected Republicans feel right now for a lot of them. But yeah, I guess just, I understand putting blame on everyone. And I think there's what I say to people is, everyone has a personal responsibility to do research. And like, if we have a chance and I show you something directly, like this disproves you, then it's like, hey man, if someone and this is what I say for people in relationships as well. If you're friends with someone in a terrible abusive relationship and they keep going back over and over and over and over again, there's only so much you can give to that person before you have to just move on. So I'd say when you're reaching out to voters and organizing, don't spend too much time on one person. If you think this one person has a chance of changing ever, plant seeds. Don't go on 5-year arguments with people. Go talk to someone else, because for every person that's going to be an asshole to you, that's not going to accept any new ideas, there's another person who is not involved, who might want to be involved, but they might be too scared. They might not understand it. They might want someone to walk up to them and give them an introduction. And if you're too occupied arguing with these dumbass troll bots, which a lot of these people in chat are actual robots, by the way, literal robots are commenting on my videos nonstop. Don't be occupied with them. Go out and give yourself to other people. And hopefully, if we keep on talking to more and more people, hopefully enough will be receptive.
Yeah, and I appreciate your answering the call. And I'll end with this too, because this has been on my mind for a while. But and I know you're not religious. I am personally. I am Catholic, but I am a progressive as well. So take that for what you will. But I think I will say this: Donald Trump is like God to these people. And to me, he's the personification of the devil. I've never in my life, and I'm not that old. I've never been around like the 1950s or whatnot. I'm not that old, but I've never in my life seen someone skate as effortlessly as he does against our laws and orders. He makes it look easy, and that's scary to me, of how just effortlessly he does this. Not even Capone could do some shit like he's doing. Like that's just that. I just can't believe how easily a dumb person like him can trick everybody to believe that he's the smartest guy alive.
Oh, he's very
And
intelligent, but he presents as dumb. Like you see how Elon Musk talks now. Elon Musk talks like an idiot now because he knows the audience likes it.
but what is it? But what does that say about us though? Like
Exactly. Yeah.
that's the crazy thing about it. But it's like I said, like you debate Trump supporters all the time, but it's like anything you can prove on him, they will not accept the reality.
Trump
That's what I'm
never did
saying.
anything wrong. It's lawfare. He's in the courtroom all the time. Why is it? Why are so many people? Why are so many courtrooms going after him? Why are so many cops going after him, dude? Why did the FBI raid Mar-a-Lago? It's like, okay, well, they found illegal things. It's like, so?
Exactly. He's God to them. He is legit God to them. And like I said, I know you're not religious, but it's like the story of the golden calf.
I'm very religious. I'm very religious.
Hey, but it's like the story of the golden calf, and in the Old Testament with Moses and the Israelites with the golden calf, and how they treated the golden calf as their new god. Well, Trump is that golden calf, their new god, and like I said, there's nothing that he's been convicted of. Was it statutory sexual abuse? Is that right? Or found liable for sexual
Yeah,
harassment?
he's like self-convicted too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
He talked about
So
wanting to have sex with his own damn daughter multiple times. He said how sexy his
yeah,
daughter is. He wish he could have sex with her and date her and marry her. It's the weirdest shit ever.
that makes me want to throw up in my mouth. Like when I hear that,
He's
honestly,
a true
that
leader. He might say some things. He might sound like a dumbass idiot, sexual assaulter of his own child all the time. But who cares?
allow it. That's the scary part. They allow it. Like I said, I've never, even with Reagan, and Republicans love Reagan. I don't think Reagan could have this kind of influence. It's crazy to
No,
me
because Reagan
how,
did not stoop to these levels. So
and even if he did, I don't think they would fall for it. I don't think they would. Like I hear people compare like Trump, Reagan, and Obama about how they're charismatic. I don't see.
mm.
I don't think that they reached this Trump level.
Trump was willing to be very, very racist. Reagan still hit it, but like Trump was able to do things that are like blatantly racist, but people still said, "Oh, it's not actually racist." At least when Reagan said like thug or, crack and everything with the drug war on drugs and everything,
welfare queens and stuff
he
like
could
that.
hide it. Yeah. Even that was like at least somewhat hidden. Some people called white rural women welfare queens as well, but obviously it was mostly geared towards black people. And it's like that whole the whole thing was Reagan did not just say they're freaking rapists. He actually talked very positively about immigration. He talked very positively about free trade and being integrated with the rest of the world. But Trump is an authoritarian dictator, and Reagan was. You could say Reagan was more authoritarian. You could say his foreign policy was still very bad, and he worked with Iran and was very corrupt, but he still respected the constitutional republic to enough of an extent. He did not seek to kill freedom. And seeking to kill freedom and seeking to deceive people is all it took in our system, because it's been held together by gentlemen's agreements, which is really scary.
I agree. I think you're right. But I think Reagan made it work for what is to be, because after Reagan, you had the both Bushes, and Bush Jr. was like inching closer to that way. Like Trump is just the worst version of all of them combined. So it's
I agree
like,
with voter blaming though. Like who keeps electing these damn politicians? Who keeps electing these? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Someone's doing it. This shit's crazy, bro. Shit's crazy how that happens. Holy shit. How did this work?
And Reagan won a majority of his. I think it was his first election or second, but he won a majority because of dang, what was it? Carter, because of they were going through stagflation. So it's like his rhetoric worked at the time. His rhetoric worked when it came to like welfare claims, and of course he talked a big game, of course, and we all know that. But I think he was like the predecessor of what we have now. I don't think I just can't imagine people back then doing what Trump's doing now and being able to get away with it. That's the scary thing about it. Like that's how far we've kind of devolved into.
Yeah, it's fun. And I'm gonna take this one person that called it 10 times. But before one last thing,
right
everyone needs to meme. Everyone needs to meme. Okay, keep on saying shit like, don't be super serious all the time. It doesn't work on these people. Be a little bit funny. Tim Walz today, he was talking at one of his he's doing like a tour thing like Bernie is a little bit. He said how he has a little when he needs a boost throughout the day, he got on his iPhone and he added the stock app and he has the Tesla ticker up if he needs a boost, a little pep in his step. And then he's like, hey, if anyone in the crowd owns a Tesla, we're not gonna be mad at you, but you get rid of it with some floss, just like saying just like lighthearted stuff that gets to the point still, on like, because a lot of it is just signaling like this is someone you should not like. This is someone you should not like. This is not a good person. You should not like them. They're freaking weird. And obviously Tim Walz coined that, and then they kind of take that away.
They butchered it. Yeah, they put him in a closet. We know. Yeah, that sucks. But yeah, thank you so much, man, for taking my call, man. I appreciate you. I hope everything goes well with you for the rest of the day and night. So, and I hope to have another conversation with you. Good dude.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one. Thank you. New subscriber. Thank you for being a new subscriber. Please drop a like on the stream, hit subscribe. Thank you for joining me for tonight's show of, I don't even know if this is a show. This is whatever. Delivery and flavor. Everyone's good at different things. Yeah. I wish politicians would stop following the freaking. Nice. A time to build. Reviving the American dream by recommitting to our institutions. Okay. JFK heads right now. Yo, how about those JFK files, bro? We're learning so much about the deep state. Okay, if you guys want to call in, you can call in now. I'm gonna take one more caller. Good job. Thank you, Epoch, for the conversation. Appreciate it. Happy to see you back. Happy to see you back in chat. Oh crap. Am I still getting impressions on that? Yeah, I am. That makes sense. Oh crap. Come on. Someone call. One more person. Here you go. I'll call you back. I'm calling you back.
Hello?
Howdy, this is the YouTube guy. What's up?
Oh, that's it's great to hear from you. It's going well. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic. You're gonna be my final call for tonight, so make it amazing. Okay.
I appreciate it. Can I give myself a quick introduction and then we can start the conversation?
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, man.
My name is Steven. I am a 21-year-old Republican from Pennsylvania. I have never really done any debates before, so this will kind of be my first debate, which I'm expecting to get absolutely shredded. I expect you to have some good arguments. But I
never debated before, so
interesting. What?
I never did formal debate or anything like that. I know some nerds do that, but
it's not really a debate. It's just kind of a conversation. But I've watched your stream a couple times, and I've found most of the people you talk to don't really stick strong on their arguments, and I just wanted to kind of give it a run and see how things go. So you have this thing on your stream, prove you're not racist. What makes Trump voters racist?
My titles are to start conversations. So right now, the intent of starting a conversation is the amount of people that are okay with throwing out due process for example, the videos Trump is making dehumanizing so many people, and with like trap rap beats as they onboard them onto planes and send them to El Salvador to be in a labor camp, standing innocent people there, and no one cares. I think a lot of the reason people don't care is because many Americans just want to get brown people out of the country. Brown people, black people, whoever it might be, people want to get people out of the country. A lot of Americans are happy to see it happen. I think that lack of empathy is largely because of skin color. And right now, there's a lot of stories of like teachers at school districts having to take down signs that say "all are welcomed here," because "all are welcomed here" is a contentious topic now in Trump's America. And I know federal workers who cannot talk about diversity or DEI or equality, and we're overturning executive orders from the civil rights movement. That so like right now it's technically legal again to be a federal contractor and have segregated bathrooms because of Trump. And it's like, why would you spend time even reversing that? So yeah, those are the reasons I think that Trump supporters are, inclined towards that, is because of the overall lack of empathy. I don't care about the words, right? I don't care about the slurs. My big thing is how you treat other people.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So my question for you is, what do you think we should do about the migrant crisis in America?
Anyone that's here on a visa overstay should
Okay.
have a path of citizenship. Deporting them is a waste of taxpayer dollars and also makes our communities less safe. All resources should be devoted towards violent offenders. Right now, they're like detaining visa overstays. They're detaining American citizens by accident. They're detaining people from their workplaces. They're detaining doctors and teachers. Why the hell are we spending American taxpayer dollars on that bullshit? I'm pissed off about that. I don't want my freaking money being spent on detaining. We deported a 10-year-old girl that has cancer, brain cancer. We deported a 10-year-old girl with brain cancer. Why the hell are my tax dollars paying for that shit? Go after the violent criminals and give people a path to citizenship if they have been here working, if they have not caused any problems, if they're members of our communities already. That's what you used to be able to do. There used to be a path to citizenship. It all got messed up. We need to fix our broken immigration system. I hate Republicans who say over and over and over again that we don't care about violent crime. Of course we care about violent crime and getting it out of America, but we don't. We're not in favor of sending people to an El Salvador labor camp without due process, because within that process of just bypassing all law and order, innocent people are going to get swept up. And once people are in cuffs and shackles, they're no longer a danger to society. There's no reason we can't slow down and make sure the laws are followed. So that's my whole thing there.
Yeah, so one thing I do want to kind of pull back from, like, we can pick out specific instances of inadequacy in the system. I mean, I could, as a Republican, I can always point out, Lincoln Riley was killed by an immigrant. We can always point at different specific instances, but it's about the greater good.
Can I stop you there really quick, though? Just really quick.
What?
So Lincoln Riley was killed by someone, which is terrible and it's horrible, but there was no reason to suspect that person of doing violent crime. They had no prior history of crime. Right now I'm talking about our direct policy decision to detain innocent people and deny constitutional freedoms and deny due process. This is an intentional decision right now being taken. Lincoln Riley did not happen because we decided to just not, or decided to break the Constitution or not enforce laws. That just happened because a bad person did a really bad thing, but it says nothing about the immigration system. So what I'm talking about is a systemic system in the U.S. right now where systemically federal officers are routinely now denying constitutional order. They're now denying court orders. They're now denying the rule of law in general and detaining people. They detained an American citizen in Chicago who was looking for a job with his resume for 10 hours. Never gave an explanation. Took him for 10 hours. Kicked him out. After 10 hours, took his money off his wallet, and never gave him any paperwork about that. So this is systemic what's happening right now. The Lincoln Riley is a terrible situation, but it says nothing about the greater system. I'm sorry, but that's just one of the big points too. We have to really nail down why this is happening, what's happening, and what the policy decisions are leading to it.
Ibarra had prior crimes. I mean, we're not.
He had prior crimes, but as far as violent crimes, you could argue to change that policy, but they were still following the law. There's nothing illegal that was done there. What's happening right now is a blatant violation of constitutional law and due process. You could tell me a law that was violated that let him do something.
But deporting immigrants currently, the skipping of due process is based on the constitutional law from 18 some early whatever. Sorry, I got a concussion recently. I'm not a little straight-headed, but it was constitutional in, when was the law made? It was in 17. It was after the Revolution. Which again,
you mean the 1798 Alien Enemies Act?
Yeah, people are always great now. It's an old law, yes, but it does make sense. I mean,
it's for wartime. That's for wartime.
Illegally. You can't deny that they're entering the country illegally. When you break a law, there is a punishment.
Yeah, I can,
and the
actually.
due process is there is a punishment for a crime, and you can't deny that the punishment for the crime is deportation.
So the due process is having a day in court, especially because multiple people that were deported were here legally for asylum claims and had a day in court scheduled the day after the flight. And now there's innocent people right now in El Salvador labor camps because we did not follow the law. And when we talk about the 1798 Alien Enemies Act,
I'm pretty sure the first plane we sent over was full of MS-13 gang members. If you want to call them innocent, that is extremely intellectually dishonest.
Okay, so intellectually dishonest does not mean that. I have looked over the cases and the people involved, and many of them have no criminal. Okay, no, we can look up this information. They have no criminal cases, many of them. There's one key example where there's a tattoo artist. They claim they were MS-13 or a part of another gang because of their tattoos. They were going to prove it in court the next day. They were denied that chance. Now they're in a prison. Okay, they were a tattoo artist. The tattoos had nothing to do with gangs. They were going to prove what every tattoo meant. This person was legally seeking asylum. Another person was going to his routine ICE appointment, seeking asylum. Legally with his wife, and now he never returned home. So these are innocent people because we lack due process. That's why the judge said turn the plane around, because there's a lot of innocent people there that they just said they're all gang members. And what you just said right there is what I mean by the casual racism, where you're just accepting that they're all gang members without looking into it further. And I guarantee if they were all white, you would not be saying that. You'd be looking into it more.
Members, but on that plane were 23 members of the MS-13 gang, confirmed gang members.
There were 200 something people, right? There's 200 something people.
I know there were 200 people on the plane. And you can't.
Do you think I disagree with getting rid of the gang members? I disagree with getting the gang members.
My argument isn't that we should be stopping any good because one or two people might get swept up in the process. And if we do that, then we're going to the overall what is the word for it? The overall good of that action is going to be just swept up in the fact that we're not actually handling the problem. You mentioned, why are my tax dollars going to deporting illegal immigrants? Why are my tax dollars going to housing them in hotels for months and months? Why are my tax dollars going to programs for them? Or how about that? Oh,
no, I said, why are my tax dollars going to detaining visa holders and 10-year-olds with brain cancer? I said 10-year-olds with brain cancer and visa and green card holders.
It's one instance that you're going to point out. And
no,
you're going to use
I could bring up a lot of instances. I brought up like 4.
People should be allowed into our country.
I brought up like 4 or 5 instances. Do you think we should end asylum?
Race issue. This isn't a
do you think we should
end?
Do you think we should end asylum as a country? Do you think we should end asylum? Do you think we should end asylum as a country?
I think I think that the levels of asylum in this country are way too high at the moment. I think that we need to lower the qualifications for asylum. Like asylum isn't I don't like my country anymore. That's not asylum.
No, okay, that's why we have court rulings. Yeah, that's about law. But when we talk about like housing immigrants in hotels, and by the way, our economy gets far more money from immigrants that do a lot of important jobs.
We exploit them. That's a good thing. We exploit immigration.
No. Okay, no. Listen. I'm just saying. No, okay, you're the one mad about you're the one mad about giving pennies to them to stay in while they have their asylum hearings. So I don't want to exploit immigrants either, but I also, we have an asylum process, and I'm okay with us funding that asylum process. If you want to change the law, that's fine, but we are following the law when we provide housing when they go through their asylum claims. I feel like you're kind of like, you can't be on one hand mad that we're providing housing during that process that's legal, and then also mad about, like, I don't know, when I say that we're getting economic return from immigration, I'm just saying to you that you're not losing money in this ordeal. That Americans are richer because of immigration and supplying, and it's also a good thing, I think.
Yeah, we're way richer because of immigration.
Well,
we exploit them for farm
it's
labor,
also
and then
asylum.
They get to traffic drugs into our country, which gets sold, and we actually tax that money.
Most drugs come from American citizens at legal ports of entry, not really people looking for asylum. Like that's actually why the immigrant crime rate is so low.
Seekers are always bringing in drugs. I'm just saying that 1 or 2 instances a year, just like 1 or 2 instances of us failing to deport the right people, it can bring in problems.
The failing to deport the right people is us violating the law and the Constitution very blatantly, and we can easily follow due process.
According to the legal terms that Trump is using, which is perfectly legal.
He says we're in wartime right now. Do you think we're in wartime right now? Are we being invaded by an enemy country?
We are absolutely being invaded, and you can't deny that
we're being invaded.
Hundreds of thousands that poured over our border counts as an invasion. And I'm not saying a wartime invasion. Like we're not.
Okay, so if there's so there's an increase in migration. Okay, from a bunch of different countries. There's no increase in crime.
Yep.
No, though most of these are asylum seekers. Still, you can't say they're all illegal.
It doesn't matter
but
for asylum seekers. They're still coming in illegally.
No, okay. So asylum laws. If you're looking for asylum, then by law, they're not coming in illegally. There are people that do come in illegally.
What are they seeking asylum from, dude? What are they seeking asylum from?
That's why there's courts. But that's why there's courts for it. It could, like, from Venezuela, for example, the barber.
I'm pretty sure the barber. And then give them months and months and months of our tax dollars.
I'm pretty sure the barber was gay, and he fled Venezuela.
We can't take in that many people.
Okay, then change the law. If that's your opinion, change the law. Don't bring up a wartime. But then change the actual law. That's why Trump's not a real leader. He can't pass laws, so he needs to do executive action. And even when the Aliens Enemies Act,
immigration easier during his first presidency. Now listen, I'm gonna use my own personal testimony based on some of my friends. I have a friend who came from Africa, and his illegal immigration time during Trump's first presidency in 2016 was 3 months. He had a visa, and he was legally immigrated in 3 months. You know what the time under Joe Biden was? The estimations for time under Joe Biden was? Because the laws he deleted when he came in and passed executive
what laws
orders.
did he delete?
He passed executive orders to cancel all of Trump's orders, okay?
What orders?
Those orders ended legal immigration. Those orders
No, there's nothing
destroyed
Trump did
legal
on legal immigration, actually. There's nothing Trump did policy-wise on legal immigration, so that's why I want to know what laws you're talking about. Biden had a big backlog of immigrants because after COVID, America opened up first, and there was a big backlog that wanted to come here, but the border was shut down for a long time, so Biden did have all those immigrants. But I would say, by the way, the increase in border crossings came before Trump even left office completely. But, like, yeah, there was a higher amount of immigration. And then, like, when Congress tried passing that conservative border bill that Trump told them to vote against, that was going to increase the capacity to handle immigration claims. So, like, Biden tried passing a law for that, and Trump said no, and Republicans listened to him. So, like, you know, what did Trump do to actually... Okay, in general, though, when we're talking about the due process of the people that had court dates already to prove they were not gang members being sent to a labor camp, I think there's no standing at all for that. And that's like not even a deportation. That's more of like a kidnapping. If you want to say it's legal under this law, if you want to say we're in wartime right now, you're essentially saying the president can say it's wartime whenever, because we're no more under war than we were now than we were ever before in American history. I would say the Enemies and Aliens Act led to us doing the Japanese internment camps. Okay, the Japanese internment camps came from that act. Even when the act was passed, many founding fathers were against it because they thought it was very unconstitutional when Adams did that act initially in 1798. So I'm not happy the president's using it now, especially since we're not in damn wartime. We're in less wartime now than we have been in the past 60 years. The crime rate has been crashing down.
This is about an invasion.
It is about wartime. It's about executive power. It's about the
necessarily-
president being a king. It's about the president abusing executive power to unilaterally
An invasion
deport innocent
incursion by
people to
a large
labor camps.
number of people. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily an armed invasion. This is a state of emergency, and that is a
A state
generally
of
accepted
war
thing.
is very specific. Like, you're not at war versus just like whatever.
We're not at war. It's
by
an
your
invasion.
standard.
There's a difference.
So it's not an invasion either. But by your standard, the president can at any
You
time
can say
have.
that all you want, but that doesn't change the fact that it is.
By yours, it does, because you have to actually have arguments for that. But I'm saying that the crime rate now is lower than it has been in the past 50 years. It's been going down consistently. By your standard, any president at any time could use extraordinary executive power and become a king and just decide who
He's
they
not a
don't
king.
trust.
Show me.
But the
an
Alien
excess
Enemies
of his
Act,
executive
national
power.
emergency
Show me
powers.
one excess of his executive power. That
The fact
he
he's using the
followed
alien-
Constitution.
The fact he's using the Alien Enemies Act right now to say it's wartime is a huge perversion of what wartime actually means to anyone that's ever
But it's
been around during a
absolutely within his
war.
rights. If Joe Biden had done the same thing, that would not be a problem for Democrats.
I
They
would
not
have a problem
all
with
the
that,
issues.
yes. And many
You say that
Democrats were
now,
against
you say
Obama
that
deporting so
now,
many people as
But you
well.
were fine with us getting hundreds and thousands of illegal immigrants, which we had no control over, and that caused economic instability. And you can't
No,
deny
I wanted
that.
to
You
fix the
think that we're
immigration
better off-
system.
Well, you think that we were better off during Joe Biden's presidency than Donald Trump's presidency from 2016 to 2020?
So if we look at what was actually done on immigration, Joe Biden got a $1.5 billion investment from Mexico to pay for troops at the border and reinforce border
Just
security and to make
1.5
more
billion?
checkpoints. Yeah, $1.5 billion. So it's a 2-year plan in 2022, and that 2-year plan came to
Just
fruition.
1.5 billion?
I think Trump said he was going to get money from Mexico for the wall and
You
never
know
got
how much money
anything.
Trump has raised just for America? Yeah, did you see that? Hold up. I'm gonna pull that up real quick. From private companies too. He's raising money from private companies for America. Like I'm not now. Listen, I'm not a Trump fan. I only voted for Trump because he was the Republican candidate. But I cannot not I will not deny the fact that he has it will be having a great economic impact.
And by the way, just really quick, because you said I don't care about illegal immigration. Okay, so Trump is the one that said no to the border bill that was going to pass. So Republicans don't care about immigration. They just want to run on it.
Oh my gosh, there's no way you're bringing up that border bill. Do you understand
Why?
what was snuck into that border bill?
What was
There
snuck
was
into it?
$40 million
The Ukraine
for foreign
funding?
aid in Ukraine.
You know that
$40
Ukraine bill? Because
billion for
hey,
foreign
do you know
aid.
how I know you're going to say that? I knew you were going to say that because the right-wing media programs you to say it. And by the way, the Ukraine funding was passed in a separate bill. The same funding was passed in a separate bill.
It was like 2,000
Yeah,
pages
I
or
did.
something.
That bill with the aid
That
you're
bill was
talking
longer
about,
than the Bible.
you could look it up. That $40 million was passed in a different separate bill. So that was not the reason. They voted against it because Trump wanted to vote against that policy because he did not want the issue to be solved before he ran for the election
There
because
was
Trump does not
way
love
more in
America.
that bill than just immigration policy, and you know
What
it.
else?
And to say
What else?
anything other than
What
that
else was?
is
What else was?
absolute malarkey.
Oh, no. Okay, well, that's Joe Biden's line, but I did just say there was other stuff in it, but that was already passed through a different bill after the fact because they said no to the immigration part. So Republicans voted yes for the Ukraine aid. They voted no for the immigration part separately. They still voted for the Ukraine funding. And I knew you were going to say that because that's what everyone says to back it up, but they don't actually look up the law.
There's a bunch of stuff I knew you were going to say too, but that doesn't make it wrong. It still counts.
Okay, no. The part that makes it wrong is that you got it wrong. And I prove you wrong, and you don't have a rebuttal because
you didn't prove me wrong. Pull it up. The bill's like 2,000 pages. Why don't you read me the pages and prove that what I said is not actually in that bill?
Because they passed
all 2,000 pages.
the
Why
number
don't we
you
read
just.
it? It'll be a nice little filibuster, just like the bill was. That's why they turned it down, because it's like a billion pages, dude. Have you read the bill?
Okay, so the most conservative member of Congress wrote that bill,
Who was that?
Langford
Who was that?
from
Who was the most
Oklahoma.
conservative member of Congress?
Yeah, one of the most conservative, Langford, I'm pretty sure,
Who
from
was it?
Oklahoma.
Who was it?
Oh, that's a senator, James
Who was
Langford.
it?
James
Who?
Langford is very conservative. James Langford. Yes, a U.S. senator. Okay, so you don't sound.
Conservative. He's the most conservative.
He's from Oklahoma. He is very conservative. He actually his record is
conservative. We have senators from Texas right now who are literally roasting their own state and because she's a Democrat, she's roasting her own state. That doesn't make her conservative just because she's from Texas. Like that doesn't matter what state they're from. They can still be liberal and from their state. Doesn't matter if he's Republican or not either. We learned that with other members of Congress. We've learned who's actually conservative these last couple of years.
Okay,
Also,
so with the border bill, Trump.
Immigration. What do you think about merit-based immigration?
Okay, so I just want to because you want to run away from it and you're yelling over it because you know you're wrong. But do you like?
We'll cycle on the same argument over and over and over again. But that's
no. You were wrong about the Ukraine funding being the reason they voted it down. They voted it down because Trump did not want to solve the immigration issue before he got in office because he wants to run on it. He wants to propagandize on it. He does not care about immigration. Trump hates this country.
That's not true. That's not true.
It is true. Okay, bring up another point in the bill. No, you said it's not true. The only point you brought up is the Ukraine, and I said that was fast.
Why don't you prove that Trump turned that down because of the immigration
Can you
issue?
admit that one point about the Ukraine funding? They already passed the Ukraine funding in a different bill after the fact, and that's not what they did.
If I find a source that says that the Ukraine funding was not in that 2,000-page bill, then yes, I will back down that point.
No. Okay, listen again. Wait. Hey, buddy, you're being weaselly right now. You're being a dishonest person. You don't want to go to God like this. Listen, I said there was.
I have no problems with that.
Calm down. People, you sound wrong because now you're interrupting.
Excited. This is great.
Yeah, you're excited because you're interrupting now because you know you're wrong and you want to interrupt, so I can't get my points out. You're doing it. Okay.
Well, let's back up.
Okay, calm for a second. Calm for a second. Okay.
You don't want to back up. Now you don't want. You want to back up.
I'm still in the middle of my sentence. You sound frantic. Just give me 1 second.
I'm not frantic. I'm relaxed, brother. I'm
okay. So. Okay, prove you're right by being able to. Stop talking for 5 seconds. Then, if you're so relaxed, the Ukraine funding. I'm not saying the Ukraine funding was not. I'm not saying the Ukraine funding was not in that border bill, but that same Ukraine funding passed in a separate bill. So therefore, the Ukraine funding was not the reason the border bill got denied, because that same funding, Republicans also, many voted for the Ukraine funding in a separate bill. So therefore, if they were going to vote for the immigration package, the Ukraine funding was not the hurdle. It's because they did not want to vote for the border bill because Trump said no to it, because Trump knew if he had that border bill passed, he would not be able to propagandize on it for the campaign. And Trump does not actually want to fix any policy in America. He just wants executive orders so he can use executive power. He never actually pushes legislation through to fix the immigration system. That's the whole point. So you're wrong about the Ukraine funding being the reason they did not vote for it.
All right, so I muted my mic for that whole thing so you could get that point out. The Ukraine funding not being a part of it, again, we'll agree to disagree because I can't. You have no proof of that. That's all speculation. I mean, you can. No. Listen, I'll even back that point down. If that passed under a full vote, okay. If that passed under a full vote and the Republicans even voted for the Ukraine support, that still doesn't prove that Trump turned down that bill so that he could run on immigration. And you need to prove that with something other than your own abject speculation.
So it's not speculation. I know that. Okay, so public law 11850 enacted April 2024 provided $95.3 billion in foreign aid for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. So that package was passed in a different area. And yeah, there was a. Here you go. Here's even a New York Post
Ukraine.
article.
Wait, what was the second language? Israel and Taiwan?
Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan was passed in the other bill.
The latter two candidates are excellent candidates for foreign aid. Just because Ukraine was lumped into that doesn't mean we didn't vote for support for Israel and what was the other country? Taiwan, who are both excellent candidates for foreign aid, considering their neighboring countries are actively at war with them.
Okay, no, we're talking about the border bill. Why the border bill didn't pass? So like,
Yeah,
I'm just
okay,
saying.
so what's your proof that Trump denied that for exactly the purpose of running on immigration? You have to prove that. You can't just speculate about it.
Because Republicans were about to vote for it, and they changed their vote when Trump said to
Yeah,
change their
okay.
vote.
Again, so you're speculating that, which means there's no actual evidence of it. So you can't just speculate about it. You have to have some evidence.
Okay.
Well, we'll dance around the flagpole all day, but you have to have some evidence
No,
if you're
I
going
am
to
objectively
make that
correct
claim.
about this. I am objectively correct
You're
about this.
absolutely
Okay, so
correct. Yeah, with all the speculation in the world. Yep. 100% correct. You know
sorry, I
what?
go
Joe
off things
Biden
people
has
do and
wings,
say.
and I don't have to prove that, but I can say whatever I want about him, right?
No, but like I've brought
Joe
up
Biden's also
multiple
mentally
laws,
decrepit.
and
What do you think about that one?
I've shown a much better understanding of the policy than you have. So like, you know,
You've shown a slightly better understanding of the policy than I
much
have,
better.
and
No,
I
much
doubt
better. I
that
knew
you
you
have
were
a
gonna say
deep
before you
understanding
said
of it,
it.
considering it's 2,000 pages of filibuster.
That's not what filibuster means either. What do you think
Fili-
filibuster means?
Filibuster is like when you as a real life example, when somebody reads a long document in court so that they can eat up as much time as possible so that the case goes their way. Essentially, you're stalling till you have either a good argument or you're stalling until the other side gives up. That's what a filibuster is. Now, that 2,000-page document is full of just randomness. If it was a basic border bill that we could actually read through and understand, then we might have even passed it. But what was in that border bill that made it so good? What was
The
in
border
that border
bill
bill?
was 300 pages long, by the way. It was 300 pages long. The Republicans lied about that too. But the
Okay,
Republicans
I'm
also
not
wrote the
basing
bill. They
that
were all going to vote
2,000
for it, but they
page
all voted
thing off
against
of
it.
a source. I'm speculating just like you are. I'm making an
I'm not
exaggeration.
speculating. I'm
Calm
going
down,
off
Batman.
of actual information.
I'm
Okay, let's move on to a different
making
topic.
an
I don't want to make you
exaggeration
too
for my
emotional.
point.
Go to a different topic. Different topic.
So sure, let's go for a different. Wait, you want to change
I want to
topics?
save you. Yeah, I
You
want
don't
to
want to
save
talk
you. I want
about
to
the
save
border
you.
bill
No, I want
anymore?
to save
You
you.
want
Because if you're
you
gonna
want
be
to save
dishonest
me?
like this, like
You don't
we
want to talk
go
about
to
the
something
border
else.
bill anymore. That's
We could go to
interesting.
we could go to
because
okay.
that was
If
one
you're
of your
gonna be
main
doing
points.
this, I could be being mean to you right now. I'm not being mean to you because you said you don't really debate or talk to people. But we'll talk about something else. Just be nice about it. You're out of your depth.
I mean,
Just
you
go
open
to
up the
something
thing by
else.
swearing at me, but we'll get at that.
Swearing at you.
But
Calm down, Bible
you open
boy.
up the thing about calling Republicans, you call all sorts of names. Let's move to a different thing. Let's talk about
Okay, calm.
what
Let's
is
take
your
a breath. Let's take a breath.
I'm
Let's
trying
take
to
a
get to my
breath.
next
Okay,
point.
what
Give me a
topic do
second.
you want to go to next?
Let's go back to immigration. Let's go back to immigration, not the border bill. We'll talk about regular immigration. What do you think is the best solution for immigration? Let's give you the floor for that. I'll even mute my mic again.
Didn't I explain what I want for immigration on giving a path to citizenship and border security? I pretty much. Or
Border security.
was that
Okay,
someone else?
so you want border security. What's your solution for border security if we're gonna let 300,000 people into the country like every day?
So if you want to adjust asylum laws, you can. So like the border bill that they were going to pass that Trump said no to was very conservative. But at a certain number of people, they shut it down. So it set like asylum limits and that kind of bill. So you can
Is that
play with
okay.
that and understand that. But another thing you could do is work with foreign aid and other countries to set up checkpoints. So other countries can handle immigration claims, and also so there's less of a reason to flee countries if you help stabilize those countries, and you could do that by bringing in private investment, or by just working with different negotiations with Central America, Mexico, and all those countries. So yeah, a lot of those can be effective solutions.
So send the money is our solution. And you said border
No,
security.
it could be mutually beneficial. There could be trade deals. There could be private investments. There could be
So why did it?
a lot of different things.
Sorry. So why did it take till year 4 to introduce a border bill that supposedly was the solution? Which I don't agree that it was the solution because I don't think foreign aid is the solution to the policy.
I don't know. Republicans should have wrote a bill. They should have wrote a bill
I don't
earlier.
know. Let's talk about current immigration numbers. Do we want to talk about that?
Immigration
immigration numbers
so
for
like
Joe Biden compared to today's immigration numbers?
so that isn't a good way to determine policy
Oh,
because
that's
even
not a good way
under
because we got actual evidence. My bad. Sorry.
no, because if you look at the actual numbers, then Obama had less immigration and more deportations than Trump did. So by
Wasn't
that standard,
the
Obama was tougher on the border than
deportation
Trump. Yeah,
We
but
don't want to bring
Republicans
up
thought he was
Obama.
not
I
good
don't
on the
think you want to bring
border.
up Obama. That's
He
disgusting.
deported a lot of people. But
Daily. Sorry, I'm just pulling up some numbers real quick. Right.
okay, so if you follow the asylum
wow, that's
laws,
a plummet.
the numbers will okay. Let's talk about economics or something.
So I thought we were talking about my next point. I thought that's what we were doing.
Yeah, your next
Was I got
point.
to-
I'm done with immigration with you. I'm done.
Oh yeah,
Next
that's what
topic.
I thought, because you're about to lose this
Yes.
argument, so you're run away from that one.
Yes, I'm gonna
that's
lose
okay.
the argument. Yes.
You're gonna lose the argument on numbers, because I was about to pull up the numbers on what Joe Biden's immigration versus Donald Trump's immigration was looking like. I think the other day we had 100.
Okay, name one policy Trump passed on. Name one policy Trump or Biden passed on immigration.
The current hold up, I actually have this.
Like a law.
Merit-based immigration system that was called the RAISE Act. It was a shift to merit-based immigration. Trump proposed moving away from a family-based immigration system toward a merit-based immigration system, where immigrants will be selected based on skills, education, and ability to contribute to the economy. This was outlined in the RAISE Act, which he introduced in 2017. It prioritized high-skilled workers and point system for evaluating potential immigrants, similar to systems used in Canada and Australia, and that comes directly from White House Gov's website. We can also go to reducing the legal immigration levels, because that was a bit of an issue with the green card issuing. We reduced green card issuing and family-based visas. Trump administration sought to reduce the number of green cards issued, especially for family-based immigrants. The RAISE Act would have reduced the number of green cards issued by 50%, eliminating certain family-based categories. Now, you might think, oh, that's immoral. Why would we eliminate families? Again, if we want to point really specifically, it's aligning more closely with Canada and Australia's immigration.
Okay, I want to move on to a different topic after this, but this is what I'm saying. It doesn't.
Now we're going to move on to a different topic now that I've pulled up
Dude,
sources.
if you're gonna be an ass, if you're gonna be an ass, I'll talk to someone else. Give me 1 second, okay? It's too late for this.
Sure. What else?
Okay, so the reason I said the policies you need to understand, because you're bringing up policies that did not pass. So the policies you're talking about did not change immigration numbers at all. So like we need to be very careful on like what are the policies, what are they actually affecting, or like what's just happening in the world, because like Biden got a lot of inflation after COVID. That was not his fault. That was global inflation that Biden had to deal with. America had the #1 return from the economic crash of COVID, but he got penalized for it because the economy was just bad. Just like, you know, George Bush had the economy crash and Obama had to take over, or like Donald Trump had COVID, so his numbers went down. Like things happen during presidencies that are not in their full control. And you know, a lot of things can happen that, you know, presidents do to influence that, but you got to look at Congress, you got to look at different laws and everything that influence a bunch of different things. It's not as simple as just like looking at a graph or just like yelling different points. We have to actually look at like like you brought up a policy that did not pass. So why even talk about that with like immigration numbers? Because it was never in effect. It's a concept.
Isn't that what I just did?
No, I'm saying like that never got through Congress. It never got passed into law. So therefore it could not influence any immigration. It did not change the immigration system like you think it never got passed. You think it was passed, it was not passed. And you're giving him credit for a law that never got passed.
I said that was something that he proposed and attempted to pass.
I asked you what laws they got passed. Okay, what do you think about healthcare?
I opened up by saying Trump opposed moving away from family-based immigration. You asked me to bring up a policy that Trump tried to pass about immigration.
No, I was bringing up what policies did they pass to influence the numbers. But what do you think about healthcare?
What do I think about healthcare? Oh, are you talking about like universal healthcare and stuff like that?
Or just like, I don't know, what is Trump's healthcare plan?
I actually don't want to talk about that. How about that? Let's talk about something else.
Why?
Maybe I'm not so concerned about healthcare right now, because I'm a 21-year-old dude. I don't really have much concerns about healthcare. I understand.
I hate kids. I hate kids. These kids these days, dude. These kids.
Man, you've been dodging my arguments all day. You just left one of the stuff I wanted to talk about because I started bringing up the stuff that I wanted to talk about.
The laws that weren't passed and the immigration bill that you didn't understand. No, I just want to go into a more interesting topic. I talk about immigration with every caller.
This is great content for you right now because
don't hype yourself up too much. No, this is like you're obsessed with like the issue that concerns race, and I just want to go talk about healthcare.
I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about merit.
Oh, what do you think about DEI? Okay, tell me about DEI then, since you don't care about healthcare.
That's a great one. I love talking about this. Okay, yeah, DEI shouldn't be a thing.
So are you against Martin Luther King Jr.? You're against the Civil Rights Act.
Okay, now we're gonna get into some fun stuff. The Civil Rights Act. I have not read up every single aspect of the Civil Rights Act, so I wouldn't know enough to argue for or against it, and that's the best thing I can say about it. I am against diversity, equity, and inclusion being a policy for America and for business in general. And I talked about this in my college essays in business as well. You got to understand diversity, equity, and inclusion is based entirely on race, and that's in and of itself is racist, and I don't
Oh,
understand how anyone could
no.
argue for that.
Dude, do you know that race makes up like 10% or less of DEI? If you think this, you need to go read some books or something, bro. This is
You know what?
upsetting.
Why don't you explain to me why DEI is a good
Oh
thing?
my
Because
God. No, because
honestly,
DEI,
it has only been imperative to America's success.
you're proving the point on my show that I say Trump's supporters are
I'm a
focused on race too
racist.
much
Yeah,
or
sorry, I
racist.
don't
Yeah, do you
believe
know
in
why?
programs
Do you,
that
do you
base
know
entirely
why?
off of people's upbringing and their skin color.
Okay, so DEI includes veterans, and includes accessibility, and includes, like, for example, rural whites get most of the DEI. Black people make up like less than 10% of the DEI. Like LGBT
Of
issues
the
get like less than
DEI,
5 or
like it's some
10%. Most
sort of
DEI is
list.
for veterans and for just like people from poor backgrounds in general, for class issues. That it helps it helps level the playing field for people that start off in compromising positions in society, that they don't have as much access to success. Like, thinking DEI is only a race thing and it's based entirely off race. Number one, it's not. Even in places where they use DEI, it's equal opportunity employment. You might be against affirmative action, but affirmative action is not DEI.
So what do you think how do you think DEI should be implemented in America if you think it's so important?
Equal opportunity employment. So like if you're hiring for a job, share that job posting to every kind of community. Don't just focus it in like a rural place or a town. Focus it to every community. And don't hold people's skin color for or against them in the employment process. That's the main point of the civil rights movement and like the equal rights or equal opportunity employment.
So essentially, we should have programs in local communities for people who are disadvantaged based on what factors?
It doesn't need to be policies in local communities. We definitely should not ban DEI, but when it comes to like federal jobs and everything, I think you should hire from every talent group, from every demographic. It should not be limited, and we should make sure we're giving it to every type of community.
Yeah, well, I mean, 100% I agree, but I would say that we should be hiring based on merit and not based on their just
But you're not hiring based on
existence.
race. You're hiring based
What
on
do you mean?
merit still. You're still hiring based on merit as much as possible. The biggest issue right now that's blocking merit is
I never
legacy
said race, I
admissions and
said based on their
having rich
abject
parents.
existence.
Having money and rich parents is a much bigger issue than any social topic for opportunities and being against the merit. And like the idea that people are with DEI, you get jobs just because you're black. That's not what DEI is. That'd be an affirmative action. That'd be a quota system. That's never been in the federal law. The federal law Trump is removing or trying to remove has to just do with basic equal opportunity employment. It's not mandatory employment of like black people, for example.
Okay, so wait, what did you just say Trump was trying to remove?
He removed multiple provisions of the civil rights era executive orders to do with
So
federal
what provisions
contracting.
would those be?
The what?
What provisions would those be? I think you were about to get to it, but I might have accidentally cut you off.
I have to look up the provision, but the law was that a federal contractor or federal workers, they had to advertise that position in every community. So like, if you're looking for a federal job, you can't just like send it to rural areas or just urban areas. You have to like give the postings to everywhere and consider every candidate equally, pretty much, or from every religious background. Or like it protects against, like, for example, if you're hired for a job and you come out as gay, your employer cannot fire you just because you're gay. And they just found out you're gay, so it's like, ew, you're gay, you have to leave now or whatever. So yeah, that's a law that Trump wants to remove. That's part of DEI though. The idea that DEI is just like making black people get a bunch of jobs is not true. What was that?
He hasn't removed it yet. Has he
Yeah,
removed
yes.
it?
Executive order.
Yeah.
I could look it up again.
Yeah. Let me
Let's
see that one. Let me read
So
that
the
one.
judge blocked Trump's executive order. His executive order banning trans people from the military. A federal judge blocked that right now. Executive order anti-DEI federal employment.
You just
Oh,
brought
an
up the best
injunction
argument
lifted
against it.
part of his anti-DEI. I hate that I have to look up every single.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna make claims, you got to back it up with sources.
No, it just
Hey,
like
could you
no, because if I'm
ChatGPT
talking to
would give
people
you
who
a
are
great
not like,
background. What?
it sucks when I do this because I have to be the one to find every single resource on
Well,
literally
I'm looking
everything.
it up too. I'm looking it up too for your sake.
And I told you what the law is already. I don't know what the exact code is, but I know federal workers right now, they can't say the word diversity or they have a risk of getting fired. So they're doing a lot of language policing
risk
for
of
that
getting
kind of
fired,
stuff.
as in that they might that you're saying again. That's very speculative. You can't just say stuff like that. You can't. Well, I mean, you can. Free speech.
That they're
You know, this is
sweeping
America.
through. No, they're sweeping through. Like you look up the Doge reports of them
Are you
sweeping
talking
through
about the
computers
people
of
who are
federal
scared to
workers.
say diversity because they might get hired? That whole thing. The
No,
like the office
because
that
they
was
made it
like,
very clear that you're not going to be in the White House if you think about diversity or inclusion. Like they're anti-diversity in the White House.
it's not that they're anti-diversity. They are merit-based. They are not based on diversity, equity, or
Is that
inclusion.
why Tucker Carlson's son is one of JD Vance's top communications people because of meritocracy?
Maybe it is.
Is that why the current Secretary of
merit,
Defense has?
what merit does he not have?
Is
That
that
you
why the
think that he
current
shouldn't be allowed?
because he has no experience in the press pool. I think he's like, oh yeah, by the way, Tucker Carlson is on Hunter Biden's laptop because Tucker Carlson was asking Hunter Biden to get his son opportunities. That's awesome. But anyways, now his son's also working for JD Vance. So I guess the Hunter Biden to JD Vance pipeline is very real with these people. But yeah, the meritocracy for the Secretary of Defense. Pete Hegseth has probably 1/10 of the experience that Lloyd Austin has, and
But Lloyd Austin's a Democrat, isn't he?
he's nonpartisan, but he was a general.
That makes so much sense. Everybody's nonpartisan these days, isn't that the case? Just like the last guy
he was. Well, you're supposed to be less partisan, especially like Biden kept on a lot of people that were from Trump's administration. Biden kept on a lot of Trump people.
By those beliefs, you determine what party you must align with. That's the way the system was supposed to work.
Well, when you're serving in like a federal job, you're supposed to be as nonpartisan as possible. So like the DOJ right now doing a big press rally for Trump.
Right?
But
no matter who.
Why would you say that in this conversation about federal employment or about federal workers?
I'm just bringing up the fact that a lot of Democrats in their federal jobs like to say that. That's just my own personal gripe.
What does that even? What do you mean in their federal jobs? You can't do that if you're a federal worker. You can't.
That clip with the senators be like, "Vote blue, no matter who."
The senators?
It's like a group of senators. They're at like a podium and they're like, "Guys, vote blue, no matter who." Yeah, I could pull up the video, but I think that would be a waste of your time.
It is. I mean, you saying this right now is a waste of my time, and it's stupid.
I'm just bringing up how ridiculous of the statement.
What you just brought up has no correlation at all, or like what you just said does not correlate with what we're talking about at all. You're just saying about your right wing slop right now. It has nothing to do with this current conversation.
For joking about something, calm down, dude. Calm down. You're getting mad. You're getting pressed. Calm down.
Okay, I just don't know.
Take a deep breath.
Okay, I'm gonna be nice to you because you said you don't do this much. Okay, it's your first time doing it. I'm gonna be nice.
I mean, you just did that to me earlier. I'm just rehearsing something you said to me.
Okay. So
come on. I can Jones back at you, dude. Come on.
You're killing me. Do you care at all? Do you think it's a sign of a bad leader that Trump does not have a healthcare plan at all?
I don't think he doesn't have a healthcare plan. I think he's prioritizing other things first.
Which like when they asked him about a healthcare plan, he didn't have one,
elected,
right?
Isn't it? That's the reason that most of the country elected him.
No, he got a minority. Most of the country voted against him.
Our terrible economy and our terrible immigration that they elected Trump.
The economy's not getting any better.
Crazy.
The economy's not getting better. But
dude,
okay, but Trump did not get a majority of votes. You know that, right? Trump did not get a majority of total votes, right? A majority of America voted against him.
Yeah, no,
he got a minority of total votes, like in America. He got like 49-point-something% of the vote.
Right, but I guess Democrats didn't come to the polls that day. They must have missed what day it was that they were supposed to.
No, I'm just saying that a majority of America voted against Trump, regardless. He did not get like he had one of the smallest wins in American history.
He won the popular vote, did he not?
No, but like there's third parties too. So in terms of all voters, a majority of voters voted against Donald Trump.
He won.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying in total. You guys are like wind up dolls, dude.
I got what? Oh, you
wind up dolls. It's like
Trump said on the podium. I'm not rehearsing what Trump said on the podium. I'm just saying the fact. He won every swing state, dude. Like that's
okay, but I said a majority. You said okay. Do you agree that he had one of the smallest popular vote wins in American history?
Okay, by numbers, yeah, 100% I agree. I can't.
Okay,
that would be delusional for me to say he had the biggest popular vote.
A lot of Trump supporters do not agree with that simple fact.
But I'm not a lot of Trump supporters, dude. Come on.
You're not like the other girls.
Let's not generalize and say a lot of Trump supporters. That's just denying history, dude. That would be stupid.
Well, most Trump supporters do deny history. I mean, do you think Hitler's a good guy?
Are you talking about the fact that a lot of them don't believe Joe Biden won the election in 2020?
Yeah, if you think Joe Biden did not win the election, then you're a cult. If you think Joe Biden did not win it's not an argument for you, but like anyone who thinks Joe Biden did not win the 2020 election is literally in a cult. They are in a cult.
I think that I think that there is okay. Now I'm going to play a very middle ground argument here, and you're going to call me a Trumpy. I think that the people who supported Trump felt very invalidated by the fact that so many votes seemingly came out of nowhere. And I'm not saying that they did come out of nowhere. I'm saying they seemingly came out of nowhere, and a lot of people recognize that, and they felt like that the election was rigged because of that. But what I think happened was, and this is my personal opinion about it, is that so many people were fed up with what they were hearing from the media about Trump that they came to the polls and they voted against him. And I think that that's fair to say. And I think that's what happened with this election too. Many people were fed up with Joe Biden's economic and his border policy that they voted for somebody who promised
I
them
disagree
better
with the policy part.
What'd you say?
They did not like Joe Biden, but I don't think it was the policy. I think it was mostly just because of trans issues.
If they just didn't like Joe Biden, why didn't they vote for Kamala Harris either?
Because she was his vice president, and she's also not likable.
She was
Trump's really good at propaganda. Trump is really good propaganda. But people can't name the economic policy.
So do the Democrats, dude. You can't deny that.
Well, Trump has his followers believing that he did. Well, Trump screamed about eating cats and dogs, and he showed zero understanding of any geopolitical issue.
They're eating cats.
Did he make one point? Did he make one point the entire debate versus Kamala that made sense?
Even to that level. But we know from 2016 that Trump wins by being a meme. That's how he does. And I don't mean meme in the internet sense. I mean meme in the sense that he wins by people finding what he says either ridiculous and voting for him, or they find what he says to be entertaining and they vote for him. He's an entertainer, but he's also a great policymaker, in my opinion, based on his current immigration policy. Again, sorry, excuse me. But his immigration policy has been pretty outstanding. Over the last couple of days, we've experienced record lows in immigration in years. And again, that's not my opinion. That's just the facts.
Well, that's only if you think immigration in general is a bad thing. Because, like, I think asylum seeking, I think we should be a place for asylum. I think we should have legal immigration. Yeah, but, like, right now we're detaining people that are permanent residents and, like, beating them up and stuff and, like, putting them in cold showers and stripping them naked.
We're not beating them up. We're not beating them up.
Just because you don't read the news doesn't mean we don't. Like, you're detaining people. Did you read the New Hampshire? I'm reading the local law enforcement reports. I'm reading the local legal reports. I'm reading the court rulings. I'm reading at least the court filings.
So we can all read them, right?
Okay. In general, I support some type of immigration system that works. I support immigration is a good thing for this country. And Donald Trump is being brutal to people who are permanent residents. I would not come here if I was even a tourist. If I'm a tourist in Germany, I think Europe right now is giving a travel advisory for gay people, for LGBT people, by the way. Other countries are giving a travel advisory for LGBT plus people, especially if they go to red states in America, to not come here. Because we're rapidly losing freedoms in America for gay people and for like any person who comes here across the border.
That Trump derangement syndrome. They're all terrified of him. They're all terrified of America right now because we are doing the same thing that El Salvador did. And guess what? There was innocent people swept up in the stuff with El Salvador. But guess what? Their president has a 91% approval rating.
Yeah, because he's a dictator, you dumbass. He's a dictator. You're so stupid. This is what people believe it. He's a dictator. Yeah, he's after crime rate. It's a third world country. He's a dictator. People aren't allowed to be in public.
Reasonable thing to do when your country's run by gangs.
Bro, if you disapprove of the president there, you're locked in jail. You can't even go vote in the polls. Yeah, it's a dangerous country. We're not El Salvador.
Right now. We're
not El Salvador.
Do
you think we're El Salvador? Do you think our crime rate in America is close to El Salvador?
I think if we kept on the path we were at, it would get to that point. Because
that's based on zero facts at all. You know, our crime rate's been decreasing the past 50 years.
Do you realize how much control the gangs had in El Salvador? They control
We're not El Salvador. I agree that gangs are bad, but I also think dictatorships are bad. We were not getting there. We were not getting there at all.
Did you grow up in the ghetto? Did you grow up in the ghetto?
Okay, so for example, one big number is El Salvador's homicide rate was 100 per 100,000 people. The U.S.'s is high for first world countries, but ours is 6 per 100,000 people. So their murder rate or the homicide rate is 200 times ours. Or wait, 25 times ours. And they have actual like operating gangs there, and no one's saying we should not go after gangs or whatever, but we should not be going after innocent people. We should not be going after innocent people and shooting up innocent people when we have a pretty low crime rate. I don't care where you grew up. I don't care where you
What?
grew up. I don't care where you grew up.
Exactly. You don't care where I grew up, even though
I don't.
that's my diversity, equity, and inclusion. You should be including my upbringing.
No, your opinion is stupid. I care about meritocracy.
Exactly. My opinion's stupid because you disagree with it. That's the problem. I grew up in the ghetto where there are quote unquote operating gangs. We have operating gangs, dude. And guess what? They didn't run the streets because our cops took care of them. But
Are you
they
saying we should
definitely
get rid
had
of?
some influence over the community.
Wait, are you
If
saying that we
walked
should get rid of
outside
due
and they
process in America and have a
chirped you from their
dictator?
porch, you kept walking as fast as you could and you didn't look at
No,
them.
okay, but
Why?
for your
Because they
argument,
intimidated the whole community.
okay, well, being intimidated, I'm sorry for you, but like, okay, so do you think we should have a dictator in America and have,
We have
and
nothing
throw out?
close to a
Do you think we
dictator.
should? Do you think we have crime bad enough in America to remove the Constitution and install a dictator like El
We have
Salvador is
not
doing?
removed the Constitution.
No, you said we
We
should be more like El
absolutely have not.
Salvador.
He-
You said
he
you
is using,
listen,
he is
listen,
using
listen,
policies that if a Democrat was in office
Hey,
and they
hey,
used,
hey, hey,
they
run
would
for
be
your
fully
life,
supported.
run for your life, freaky ass.
My
Okay,
bad,
so
my bad. You know what? Finish your point. I'll mute my mic
freaky
again.
ass. Listen, he's a fan. El Salvador, you said you want to be more like El Salvador. So you're saying we need to bypass the Constitution and use wartime powers and enact our president as dictator to crack down on crime in America, which is 30 times lower than them. We should crack down on individual personal rights for legal people in America that have committed no crime, maybe even American citizens, and it's worth it to you because you think American crime rate is that bad. Do you think we should be more like El Salvador, meaning we should bypass our laws and due process? Should we throw out due process if it means getting rid of what you consider to be super violent gangs? And I've been in dangerous areas of America before, and it's not anywhere near what El Salvador is. I think you're just kind of believing the propaganda on that. But do you think we should be like El Salvador in America?
Sorry that my experience believes propaganda, but I'll respond to some of the comments. So first off, you said, do I think we should be more like El Salvador? There are aspects that we should be more like El Salvador in the way we handle certain individuals in America. I think that anyone who has the affiliations to dangerous gangs, even if we don't have a record of them doing any crimes, quote unquote, their affiliation in and of themselves should qualify them to be as quickly as we can removed from this country. And I think that there are going to be innocent people that are caught up in the process. I completely agree. And I do think that that there are going to be people where we should have taken more due process. I don't think we should 100% throw out due process, but I do think that we are in an instance currently where due process will only stretch out what we need to do in order to help resolve the immigration crisis in America. It is absolutely a crisis, and to deny that would be foolish. Our numbers have been significantly positively impacted by Trump's policies, and I think that is, since that's working, that's who I voted for, and that's what's going to work for America. And I don't necessarily think we should be more like El Salvador. I do think there are, again, some things that he has done, like throwing violent gang members in jail. Nobody who makes a living off of murdering and brokering drugs to people should ever be allowed in the free world. They should be thrown into a dark hole where they can never crawl out.
No one disagrees with cracking down on violent or dangerous people. No one disagrees with that. We disagree with, for example, like I said, throwing people on a plane who have court dates already to prove they're not gang affiliated into a labor camp in El Salvador and putting them to death, essentially.
Small and specific instances have been failures.
It's not small.
But it's
when
not the whole
if they're
thing,
gonna
because it's
overbroaden
already
that,
been working, and you
if they're
can't
gonna
deny that.
yeah, because people are scared to come to America because we're brutal. There's people who are legal residents here who are not coming back anymore. They're staying in other countries who are legal residents, doctors and nurses, and people who are not violent gang members because they're scared about getting detained by ICE. There's a man in New Hampshire who is a legal permanent resident, German national. He got detained and they forced him to be naked and threw him into an ice shower or a cold shower and like interrogated him for no reason. So like these things are happening and they will happen on a massive scale, and there's no reason for that to be happening. There's no reason we need to violate these rights to crack down on violent crime in America. And saying we're under wartime, we should be under wartime authority, I think is super misguided, and it's really dangerous for the future of America and falling into
because we need to
authoritarianism.
handle this issue now and not in 5 freaking years when we'll have a president inevitably who is going to be way too soft on it and is going to allow our country to fall into economic decay.
Nothing about America was the strongest economy in the world the past 4 years under Biden.
That is malarkey to say that. That is absolute
No,
bullheadedness
it's just
to say that.
following the facts of the
It's following the
economy.
fact. What facts? What facts are you talking about?
So
I couldn't even
overall
afford
growth in
gas 2 years ago. That
overall.
shit was $5 a gallon in
Calm down,
Pennsylvania.
calm
You were
down.
in Pennsylvania. Oh, now you're telling me
Okay,
to calm down, dude.
there were
When I
issues.
did that, you got mad at me. Come on, man. I
Calm.
couldn't afford gas in Pennsylvania. And it's the same
Okay,
thing for you.
when
'cause
I
you
say
know,
we were when it comes to the economy, working class wages hit all-time highs, even adjusted for inflation under Biden. We had a huge increase in manufacturing jobs. We had a huge increase
my working class
in
wages didn't
factories being built here
wild to
for
say
chips
that.
and manufacturing because of the Chips and Science Act. We had the infrastructure law passed to help rebuild American roads and bridges. Just because inflation was a thing, I agree it was a thing. Nothing was going to stop that. America dealt
And
with
how
it
much
better
did
than
Joe Biden
pretty much
increase
any
the
other
deficit?
country.
How much did he
Well,
increase the deficit?
Trump added more to the deficit than Biden did, so I'm not sure you could really put that on Biden.
Oh, are you talking about when he during the COVID freaking thing when he used
Do you
the
realize that
American
Biden was
system?
president under the worst COVID wave?
It literally. Oh my gosh, are you calling Omicron the worst COVID wave? 3
Objectively,
years
with
after
number
we
of
had a
deaths,
freaking
with number
vaccine?
of deaths, objectively, yeah, that was the worst period. Was that
No, but it
January and
wasn't the worst
February?
for
Yeah.
the economy, which is what I was citing.
Well, the economy has long-lasting impacts for supply chains and also just like overall COVID
Yeah,
impact and spending that we needed to get out
100%.
of COVID. So he spent a lot of money on reopening ports
So
and
Joe
stuff like that.
Biden
So like,
saved us from COVID.
no, I see the logical arguments are. But objectively, yes, our economy fared a lot better than other countries in Europe, and
You
our
call
gas prices were
Republicans
still
delusional.
lower. The whole world was dealing with like issues. I'm giving you a clear presentation of like the world right now, comparing to other countries. We were number one in our return from the COVID pandemic. There were some issues for sure, but I think Americans are very just we have a very pampered vision of the world because we never really
America's always
we did not feel the brunt of it. No, objectively, it's true. I'm just talking about the facts of it, but the facts don't matter. It's more emotional arguments that appeal to people like you. So I need to think about that when we're having these conversations. But objectively, America did have really strong recovery from COVID. We need to focus on housing and building housing in America and cutting down healthcare costs. But you don't care about healthcare, so why would you give a shit? Healthcare is like one of the
I do
biggest
care
issues
about
for
healthcare. It's
Americans
just
and
that
healthcare costs.
I'm not prioritizing that as an argument. For one, because I haven't read up on it, so I don't think that it's right for me to argue something that I don't know enough about it to make a decent argument about. So I think it's fair for me not to argue about healthcare. But I mean, like, even in the instance of healthcare, universal healthcare would be hard to implement, especially like
I don't know
if
any
you wanna get
Democrats other than Bernie
healthcare.
Sanders who's an independent who wants that, so I don't.
Universal healthcare.
Yeah, I don't know who
Bernie
else
Sanders
even
isn't a
wants that.
Democrat. He's a populist. There's kind of
Well,
a
he's
difference between.
an independent Democratic Socialist from Vermont.
Again, it's not a Democrat. He's very much a populist.
Yeah, but he ran as a Democrat. He's been caucusing with Democrats his entire life. I'm just saying I don't know what Democrats in favor of a full universal health care anyway. There's very few. But just like in general, like Obamacare or ACA, and there's a bunch of other Medicaid, Medicare. But you say you don't know much about that.
Yeah, I don't want to argue on it because I feel like it.
Like right now,
would give you a stance of very, very high advantage.
Do you think tariffs work for the economy?
I think that tariffs have a positive and negative impact on the economy. There's different things. When we focus on the global economy as a whole, the tariffs will definitely have a negative impact on our global trade, because obviously other countries are going to retaliate with their own tariffs. I think that tariffs will be effective at bringing production back to the United States, but they will not be effective at lowering costs, which is one thing a lot of Republicans do believe. I think in the long run, we might see lowered costs by bringing production back to the United States. But I mean, I'm all for tariffs. The reason why is because I don't believe that we should be taking advantage of lower waged workers overseas for our production. And I think that tariffs enable us to bring production back to a controlled U.S. environment. And I think that you could agree with that argument.
I agree with the exploitation part, but tariffs in general are really bad for any economy.
They're really bad for
even with bringing jobs back. Like you'd save money.
Recovered from all of the what's it called?
Russia's economy is in turmoil right now. The only thing saving Russia's economy is Donald Trump supporting Russia. Like Russia's economy is in the shits right now. Holy.
Okay, so how's Donald Trump supporting Russia right now? How much foreign aid are we sending to Russia at the moment?
We are advocating to integrate Russia into global trade
which means that we have not been
he's
supporting
the
Russia.
president. He just did an interview tonight. Okay, Trump did an interview tonight calling Canada a dangerous, cheating partner we can't trust, and he said Russia should be a country we trade with more.
Yeah, Canada has a prime minister they didn't even elect. Like, they did kind of elect him. They had their, whatever, senators, representatives, Congress people elect him. But like, I don't think Canada is the gold standard for how to run a country, dude.
Okay, well,
And by the
technically,
way,
Donald Trump's first time in office, we did not elect Trump, and also we don't parliamentary systems. They choose a prime minister.
No way. You said that we didn't elect Trump his first time in office.
In the same way we didn't elect anyone else. Yeah, the Electoral College won the election for Trump the first time around. Yeah.
That's how our elections work, dude.
Yeah.
The Electoral College is a very dynamic and good system. I have literally zero qualms
dynamic
with the
and
Electoral
good.
College.
Okay, cool. Well, it benefits your side, so it makes sense. It's DEI. It's affirmative action for Republicans. So it's affirmative action for Republicans.
Democrats win a majority of the presidential elections, dude.
Well, yeah, they win the popular vote for like all of
side.
them, except like most of them. They win popular vote.
So
for Canada,
it was by state,
you say you're not a Trumper.
time.
You say you're not a Trumper, but they just came out with the Carney line about him not being elected today or yesterday, and you already are repeating it like a parrot. So what does that say about your intellectual level?
I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm just saying.
Carney's not even elected. That's what all the Republicans are saying on Twitter today. Okay.
All the Republicans are saying it on Twitter. I'm not even on Twitter, so I wouldn't know.
But do you think? Are you familiar that when Kamala got the nomination, she was also voted on by delegates, or do you think she was just like appointed?
You mean like as the vice president?
No, as the candidate.
Oh, as the candidate? Did they hold it? I'm going to ask you a question because I don't want to just announce an opinion. Did they hold a primary election for Kamala?
Not in a normal sense, but primary elections are just telling delegates where to vote, and delegates are representatives of Democrats, and the representatives of Democrats voted for her to be candidate, just like our senators would vote on a law, or our Republican, or our House would vote on a law.
Sorry. Do you think that Kamala would have been chosen if primary election was held?
Nope, I don't think Biden would have been chosen either.
So how is that
that's not a point.
Of what the people wanted?
Well, at the time, when we have representatives, we elect delegates, and 90% of Democrats said go to Kamala if Biden drops out, because it was like 2 months before the election, and she was the vice president, so it made sense. It was easy to transfer the campaign funds over to the VP, so there's a bunch of different reasons why I went to Kamala. But at that point, most voters wanted there to be a primary. There was no primary because Biden decided to run again, and I blame Biden for that 100%. But also Trump didn't even participate in debates versus like Trump ran from DeSantis and Nikki Haley and stuff, and Vivek. So Trump didn't even debate. So I mean, I criticized that too.
Trump didn't have to debate to win the election.
Do you think it's bad that he didn't debate to test himself against other candidates?
I think that it's absolutely acceptable for him not to debate. If a candidate doesn't go to the debate, that's entirely their choice. And for him to go to the debate would literally just be, it wouldn't change what actually happened, which would be that he would win the primary election. So for him to go to the debate was just a waste of his time. Now, do I think he should have gone to the debate? I think he should have gone to the debate. As a Republican voter, I would like to see what he would have done. But it's up to him, and there's no legal reason.
Yeah, I know it's up to him. It's up to him. It's not an argument. Legal reason. You're making. It's not a legal reason. I'm asking about your freaking opinion.
Like, dude, I'm saying regular things. Why are you making fun of me?
There's no legal reason Trump had to do it. I'm like, yeah, I'm asking your damn opinion, bro. There's no legal reason the Democrats had to have a primary.
Damn opinion.
There's no legal reason Democrats had to have a primary either.
There's no. I agree, but they should have, because Kamala wouldn't have been elected.
Okay, I was asking you if you think he should have went to the debate, and you did this whole thing about legality because you're trying to.
I didn't do this whole thing about legality. I ended my statement by saying
finally. I'm over here watching
place.
paint dry on the wall, waiting for you to finish. Jesus,
you want to talk about talking for a long time? I literally mute my microphone so you can have seconds to talk.
Yeah, because you can't stop talking. Rita, if you're still. Oh crap! Wait, are you in chat? I don't know if you're in chat.
If you want to go to another caller, you absolutely can. No. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was good to give me some insight on what the Democrats actually think right now.
I was trying to find their name in chat. Well, anyways, thank you for the donation. You know who you are.
Okay, gotcha.
Thank you for the donation.
Support the channel, guys. He's doing good stuff for content.
It's not good for.
He's actually,
either,
you know what? I actually let me say something nice about you real quick. I appreciate the fact that you were having discourse with the other side, and I appreciate the fact.
Shut up.
What? I'm being so nice to you right now.
I'm not giving you your little massage. I don't care about your
I'm not
kind
asking for
words.
massage. I'm trying to give. I
don't care about your kind words. I care about the American Constitution.
I care about the American Constitution. I also care about the rule of law.
No, you think you could suspend the American Constitution whenever you want.
Proof that I don't care about the American
I think America's in wartime right now because your feelings are hurt. It's so sad.
No, I think America.
Actually, you don't know what wartime is because Americans are so pampered. They think we're in wartime right now. They think we're under an invasion because Americans are pampered and they're on their phones all day.
We're not in wartime.
Okay. If we're not in wartime, then the Alien Enemies Act cannot be used. If we're not in wartime.
The Alien Enemies Act is describing an invasion, which this absolutely is. If you look up what the definition of an invasion is.
Too many asylum seekers?
I can get into the technicalities of it.
We're being invaded. What country are we being invaded by?
We are being invaded by immigration. We are. Oh my gosh, you're such a dick for just laughing at anything I say before I get a point out.
We're at war with immigration. We should be. We have the war on drugs, bro. Alien Enemies Act for the war on drugs. We're invaded by drugs.
We are at war against illegal immigration.
Hell yeah, we could just do dictatorship. We should just have a dictatorship under your standard. We should have a dictatorship. Suspend the Constitution. We're under. It's a national emergency, guys. It's a national emergency. Suspend the Constitution. We got to jail every American. So we can take every criminal off the streets.
No, not Americans.
Yeah. No. Okay, no. But you said it's okay if we sweep up innocent people within this. So
I said,
GGs.
No, oh my gosh, you're literally taking me so out of context. It's crazy.
No, you just don't know how the context works in the real world.
In the process, and that happens in every single policy. Literally every single one.
Hey, that's why we have constitutional rights and we have a due process. So that happens at a lower extent.
Not for gang members. That's not how that works. Not for people who willingly destroy people's lives and come into the country illegally. That's
do you want to be? I have a serious question though. Do you want to be a thoughtful person that cares about people, or do you want to be like a shithead that you see on the internet? Like genuinely. No, because when you say that about gang members, I've already told you before that having zero due process is how we're sending innocent people over when we should not be. It's really easy to make sure that there's innocent people with legal asylum claims. We don't want to send those people to death camps or labor camps. If you want to deport them, go through different processes. Sure, change the asylum law, deport them back to a country that's safe, not literally straight to a death camp.
Until they can have their due process.
Yeah, we should detain them until they have due process to prove they're not.
We should hold them in internment until they have their due process.
So you're saying we should skip due? Nazis did not have due process. Do you think Nazis had due process?
Until we give them due process, which is what the Nazis did during wartime. No, but what we're doing is we're just shipping them back to their countries.
Do you think the Nazis had due process?
No, they didn't. That's the point. They held them in internment indefinitely.
No, but we have court. No, we have a system for that in America that Trump's bypassing for actual due process. That's why we need to maintain due process so we don't end up like the Nazis.
Oh my gosh, I understand. I understand that. Okay, but we are dealing with a crisis, which means that some things have to be thrown out the window.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. There's no reason to deport innocent people to prison camps.
Illegal immigration. The policies that are being currently enacted.
Then focus your efforts on getting down legal immigration. Don't go after innocent people. Take your time for innocent people to not be sent to death camps in El Salvador.
You brought up one case or two cases out of the thousands that we are already.
Okay, so the White House. Okay, this is hundreds of people. We don't know how many people are innocent, and also they said they're going to keep on sending the exact same kind of flights. So whenever there's like a brown person swept off the streets and they say, "Oh, you're a gang member," by law.
I love how you're making this all about race. You're making this all about race.
Yeah, because that's what's happening. They're sweeping up people based on. They're bringing up based on race and nationality. They're putting people in a plane, sending them to death camps without proving they're actually gang members. So therefore, you need to understand.
Other than just Mexico,
I want you
to.
Are you a racist? Listen.
Are you a racist? Do you think we have illegal immigration from other countries other than just Mexico?
I didn't say just Mexico. I said brown people. I said brown people. Yeah, that's what you're
bringing up. You're saying that they're sweeping brown people. Do you think
only Mexicans are brown people?
We're going to be deporting.
Do you think black and brown people are from like Africa and Mexico and no other countries?
That's not what I said.
Then why do you think I just brought up Mexicans? I did not say the word Mexican at all.
No, I know you said brown people, but I'm saying, do you think we have illegal immigration from let's just say.
Why did you assume when I said brown people I meant just Mexicans?
Because usually when you're referring to Africans, you use black. When you're referring to Mexicans, you use brown, or Indians, you use brown and stuff like that. That's just racial terminology. And I brought it up because you're bringing up race whenever you're talking about people that are getting illegally deported or illegally deported.
How
Like,
are you
this is-
accusing me of being racist and exposing more racism as you call me a racist?
I'm not exposing any racism. You're
Bro,
straw
what?
manning me into a racist stance.
No, okay, so they're looking for Venezuelan criminals, okay? So someone that fits the bill of that, they might sweep them up and take them. The big issue is if the president right now in this current system, he can hypothetically, under these powers, take
They're
a
not
completely
looking for
illegal...
Venezuelans, dude. They're looking for illegal immigrants in general.
I'm concerned...
They're
no,
using a very, very simple
So for
system
the
to
El
find them,
Salvador
too.
death camps, I am concerned because under the current law,
Death
the
camps,
president...
they are prisons,
Calm
dude. Have you
down.
seen the
Yes, El
conditions?
Salvador, the conditions are terrible in El Salvador.
They're not terrible. Literally, one of the inmates literally said on camera, and I can pull up the video if you want. I'll send you the link. He said on camera that it's good for what we deserve. He said it on camera, and it was in a CNN interview.
Do you think he willingly said that?
He said it in almost perfect English, dude.
Oh,
Like-
wow. Wow, they really trained someone well to go talk for them, but they're a
Oh
brutal
my gosh. Have
dictatorship
you seen
still.
No. How about this? Have
Okay,
you
let
seen
me
the
get my
conditions?
actual
Have you
point
seen
out for the
the
legal...
conditions? Have
Okay,
you
if you
seen the
care about this
conditions?
country, you'll let me say this, because this is a big point.
Sure. You know what?
The
I'll give you
president
my
of
mic.
the...
Yeah, there you go.
The fact you need to mute your mic, you got to get some Adderall or something, because you need some more control over that. Okay, so I'm on 5N, so I'm allowed to say that. But in America right now, under this current law, the president could hypothetically say you are a Venezuelan gang member and deport you to a labor camp in El Salvador. That is the issue with violating due process, is it extends to overreaching executive power, authoritarian power, which is why people had issues with Adams doing the Alien Enemies Act in 1798, which is why people have issues with Woodrow Wilson's Sedition Act. That's why people have issues with these different acts that we do not want to bring up, that are supposed to be for only an intense wartime, World War I, World War II type times. The reason people are having issues with this is extreme executive overreach, authoritarian overreach, where the president can say you are a criminal and deport you or do whatever, as they keep expanding that power to impact more people. They can do anything to you without going to a court of law, without getting a warrant. They could just accuse someone of something and ship them to a labor camp. And I think that's not good for the American president to have that overwhelming power. Should they have some power? Sure. But what they're doing right now, the fact you're willing to send so many people into this this terrible system who might be completely innocent, when all you need to save them is even the most minor due process available, I just think it's very un-American. It is un-American, objectively.
Okay, so there are certain things that you said that I agree with, and there's certain things I disagree with. First off, the due process thing, I agree with the concept of due process, except in extreme circumstances, which we are in extreme circumstances, 100%. Now, I've said it multiple times. Innocent people are going to get swept up in the process. That's going to happen, and you can't just say that due process is going to 100% exonerate them from any sort of, like, that's not going to fix the problem. We're still going to have issues of immigrants essentially sapping up tax dollars. What do you think we do with them while they're waiting for hundreds of thousands of people to go through the court system? What do you think we're going to do with all of these immigrants? Well, they're going to be in the country. They're going to be exploited for their labor. They're going to be used. They're going to be in our own internment prison camps. So what I'm vouching for is that we quickly evacuate them from our country so they're not sapping up our tax dollars anymore. And you can't even deny
we're paying
that
El Salvador
interning
for
them
this,
for
right?
months and
We're
months
paying
and
El
months-
Salvador. We're paying El
Oh my
Salvador
God.
to do the
We're
prisons.
paying El Salvador like $10 million or something. I forget what the exact number was, but it's in the millions, which is completely reasonable. We're
How
sending
much do you think it would be to
small
detain
package
people
to
now
them.
until they have due process? It's not that big of an ask.
It's not. It's going to cost us so much more to intern people in the United States for literal years. Is what it's going to take
And
to give
by the way,
hundreds and thousands
we have
of
to actually,
people
like,
due process.
when there's a wartime act, we need to actually be at war with a country and be invaded by a country.
We are currently in a crisis. It does not matter
We're
if
not
we're
in
in war.
It
or
does
not.
matter. Laws do matter, and you could say
it's
we're in a
about-
crisis.
it's about-
Objectively, if we're in a
state of
crisis
emergency.
now, if you think we're in a crisis now that justifies authoritarian power, you're in favor of a dictator, because we've been in a
We are
worse
not
crisis.
in authoritarian power. Trump is exercising the
You
power that is
are-
vested
you
in him
are-
by the people of America. He was elected for this role by popular vote and has received the, well, I'm gonna use the word and you're gonna hate it. He's received the mandate from the American people to do this.
There's a
thing.
big
Now you're gonna say I'm a
complicated
Trumpist.
system in America. Our founding fathers would hate the idea that we'd give ultimate executive power to someone based off one vote. They're supposed to be
Our
co-equal
founding
branches of
fathers
government.
went to war with Britain because they taxed tea 5%.
No,
Dude, our
we had
founding fathers
taxes
would
in America. We
100%
had
be
taxes in
favor of
America. It
prioritizing
was
Americans.
about taxation without representation. That was the issue, not taxes itself.
Yeah, dude, the taxation was like 5 to 15%, if I remember correctly, on tea and stamps on products. And they went to war with Britain because America was being unfairly treated. And so the
Okay.
founding fathers would 100% be in favor of
The
us
point is,
prioritizing America. The
no.
founding fathers were all nationalists.
You think they were all nationalists? What does that word mean to
100%
you?
they were nationalists.
What does that mean to you?
1,000%
That they love
they were
America?
nationalists.
do you think that
Nationalism
makes-
isn't bad, dude. It's
I would say it is. I think
what?
patriotism's good. I think patriotism's good, not nationalism.
Nationalism is essentially prioritizing your country over every other country in the world. How do you think that's bad? Is that
Nationalism
Nazi?
is usually, well, yeah, they were nationalists. The Nazis were.
Yeah, they were.
I think
nationalists.
patriotism's good.
They were
Patriotism's
the
good, but
National
nationalism
Socialist
and
Party.
because nationalism also ties in isolationism and also ties in usually authoritarian power to maintain like national
It doesn't
purity.
find authoritarian power, dude.
Yeah, it
has,
does.
Oh my gosh! Just because
Also,
it happened
nationalism
with
is a
the
far-
Nazis
it's a
doesn't mean it
far-right
happened with
ideology.
Every nationalist country, dude.
Actually, it does.
That's
Every nationalist
delusional.
country, yeah. Fascist Italy was
delusional. You're
nationalist. Even
delusional.
you could even argue the USSR was nationalist. Pretty much every dictatorship is nationalist. North Korea,
Delusional.
China,
You're
Russia.
delusional, dude.
I'm sorry you don't know what nationalism
People
means.
who are dictators are frequently nationalists doesn't mean that nationalism is the problem. It's the dictatorship that's
Do it
the
for
problem,
Mother
dude.
Russia. No, but at least a dictatorship because it takes away the individual autonomy of everyone.
I
it
don't
leads you
work
to
for
a
Mother
charismatic
Russia,
leader.
you dickwad.
No, I'm just saying that that's an example of nationalism. Everything is for the Mother Russia. Everything's for the great of Germany. Like that's what they said. You have to justify
Yes,
losing your
because they were
individual freedoms.
nationalists.
Actually,
That's
they were
not a
asking.
fascist thing to
So
say,
like
that's a
Hitler, for
nationalist
example,
thing.
said we're being invaded by the Jewish, who are also very corrupt and they're draining our dollars from society. We need to,
Yeah,
even if we're gonna sweep
was
up,
terrible.
even if we're gonna, but you are justifying for the same thing here with immigrants.
No, I'm not. No, I'm
You
not.
are
No, I'm not.
bypassing due
Because you're
process
the
and
one
saying we're doing it for the
justifying
greater Germany.
internment. You're the one justifying internment and working them at exploitative levels.
I'm saying that we need to do due process so we don't send them to labor
Yeah, and
camps
we'll throw them all in
El
vacation
Salvador.
villas in Cabo. No, we're gonna put them in
No,
internment
I'm saying we
camps
should
if
have
do
due
your
process so they
system.
have a court date because they're being unlawfully detained.
How long do you think those court dates are gonna take, dude? There's hundreds of thousands of
The
them.
one guy's court date was a day after. He was a tattoo artist who's
It
now
was-
in a labor
so
camp
his
because
court
people
date would
like
have
you
been done
are
in
stupid.
one day. It would have been done in one day. He had no lawyer, and the whole
He
process
had
would
a
have taken
court date
15
already
minutes.
scheduled. It was already
That
scheduled
doesn't
for the
matter.
next
The
day.
court actually would have taken multiple weeks, if not months, dude.
He had
You
a
think
chance.
we're gonna
He would have
be
had
able
a.
to just snap magic pop everybody's
Yes, we should
right
take
with
our
their
time. We
courts-
should take our
courts?
time because if you justify not taking your time and not having a constitutional republic, you're moving to authoritarianism. Hitler justified killing Germany.
It's crazy because
Um,
60% of Americans would disagree with you.
I
Americans
agree.
would
That's
disagree.
that's a bad thing. And by the way, it's not that
Yeah,
many Americans,
and
but
you're the
it's enough
moron.
Americans. But it's a bad thing. Like Hitler justified removing their constitutional republic because he said Germany needs big change now. It doesn't matter how we do it. We're going to do it for the greater nation.
You
And he took
constantly
authoritarian
comparing
power.
Trump to Hitler is erroneous.
I'm not
dude.
comparing Trump to Hitler. Erroneous. That's
You
a
are
big word.
literally comparing Trump to
No,
Hitler.
I'm saying
right
I'm
now.
saying how a constitutional republic you are advocating for. There's an emergency happening right now that's advocating for us to ignore our constitutional republic, and I'm saying that is a bad thing. We should keep our
I'm
constitution
saying
and
we
due process.
we don't ignore the constitutional republic. We use illegal precedents to enact emergency powers, which is very reasonable.
The
for us
legal
to do.
precedence for the Alien Enemies Act is wartime. We have not declared war against the country, have
Oh
we?
my gosh!
Have we declared
dude.
war against the country? Have we declared war? Because, like, for
We don't
example,
need to
Japanese
declare
internment
war.
camps,
It was because of a
we
state of
declared war
emergency, which
versus
happened to
we
be
had
at
war
at the
versus
time.
Japan. So therefore, the act would actually apply there because we have actual declaration of war with
You're
Japan
right.
or
We
a
should
response
just
to
start
Japan.
kicking Japanese people out of our country because we just enacted this law.
But no, I'm talking about the 1940s when
Just
we
like
did
the
internment
surface
camps.
level understanding of Democrats. They don't understand actually what we need to do to fix this country. And you think that we can just magically snap crackle pop us into a better state? And it's insane
Wait.
that you would
I'm talking
vouch
about the
for Joe
complex.
Biden's policies.
Wait. Do you realize that I'm advocating for a complex understanding of our constitutional republic, and you're advocating for snap crackling and popping us back into place and just like avoiding those rules because you think we have an emergency that needs to justify extreme authoritarian power right now?
I'm saying that we're in a state of emergency and need to take action now. And you're saying we should take action over the period of the next 20 to
No. We should do it
25 years.
lawfully. We should do it lawfully with due process in
Over a
mind.
period of the next 20 to 25 years, which is actually how long it's going to
No,
take, dude. There's hundreds of thousands of them, and each court session isn't going to be over in a day.
I just don't think you understand how much.
To believe that.
I just don't think you understand how much we're losing right now in terms of overall
I don't
freedom
think
for
you
everyone.
understand how much we're losing right now. Like America is in a state of decay economically.
No, it's
and
not. It's really not. Now it is
Oh,
because
yeah,
of tariffs.
you're right, because we were taking advantage of the immigrant population to pick our vegetables for cheaper.
No,
under the
I
federal
never
minimum
said that
wage.
either. I never said that.
Well,
Can you
no, that's
just
what
calm
the
down and
party
talk to
wants.
me like
They
we're
say-
talking to each other.
They say, okay, I'll calm down. They say, you really want to get rid of all the illegal immigration? Then you're going to say goodbye to cheap vegetables. Your party advocates for keeping immigrants in the
That's
country
not why
so they can
they
exploit them for
care
cheap
at all.
labor.
No,
Your party
that's why
advocates for keeping them in the
that's
country
why
to exploit
like
them for cheap labor.
that's a libertarian argument for immigrants. That's like
not.
a capitalist
It's the
argument for
Democrats. I'll pull
immigrants.
up a clip right now.
Well, no, the Democrats say that because they want to show the hypocrisy on the right wing, because the right wing wants to have their cake and eat it
an
too.
erroneous argument to exploit.
Don't say the word
people,
erroneous.
to
You don't really know what that
hypocrisy
means.
in the right.
Yeah, that's actually the exact purpose. Yeah, because we're saying, like, for example, they work all the you enjoy your cheap food, you complain about inflation, it's gonna go up, prices are gonna be higher because you said you voted for the Nazi because you.
The Democrats support keeping them in the country exclusively for exploiting them, dude. And if you believe anything else, it's crazy.
Actually, no, I know a lot of human rights groups. I actually know a lot of immigrants.
America
No, I know a lot of immigrants.
And you support that.
Well, Trump is cutting off like DACA recipients and cutting off kids who are here to go to college too. And I mean, it's for all immigrant rights. I work in these. I know these organizations. I work in these communities. By the way, so you can't really say that about me. I'll let you say that because you're a dumb 21-year-old that doesn't know shit about this. But if Democrats really wanted to do that for immigration,
how old are you?
I'm only 25, but I have a lot
more.
more.
So you're so much smarter in those 4 years.
Yeah.
You're so much smarter.
It's not about being smart. No, I work with
dude.
I work with actual immigrant advocacy groups. I understand this a lot, and it's not for cheap labor. Trust me. They would, what they would say is give every person that's working here a path to citizenship and have them included in the same labor laws that we're under. That's what they would be saying.
I believe we should give all people equal access to citizenship. But you know what Joe Biden doesn't believe in? Equal access to citizenship. Joe Biden over the last 4 years.
What the hell? Okay, we're talking to each other. Don't bring up political figures. Okay, because you challenged like Democrats in general, but I'm just telling you, everyone on the left, everyone on the listen, everyone on the left. Yes, that's the name of the show. That's the name of the show. You got me. My big thing is immigrant advocacy groups do not say we need to keep them here for cheap labors. They want to pay immigrants very fair wages. The reason that they say that is literally to throw Republican hypocrisy back in their face for capitalism purposes.
Bro, Republican hypocrisy. I don't think we're gonna see our vegetable prices rise that much, dude. Because
that's
if
not
that
the
happens,
argument. My argument is human rights. My entire argument today is based on human rights. It's not based on the grocery prices. I'm based on due process. I'm based on sending innocent people to death to labor camps
and interning them in America for 5 years in little camps where we can exploit them more.
I'm not.
What do you think we're gonna do when we have to hold them for years to do their quote due process?
Well, the one guy commit no crime at all. Well, they're detaining people who have not commit a crime at all. And like the one guy that I brought up, the guy that was going to his normal appointments because he's seeking legal asylum.
You're right. The 23 members of MS-13 didn't commit any crime at all.
Okay, I have to ask you again. Do you care about being a good person at all, or are you just here to bullshit life?
I do.
Okay, then listen again. Do you understand why? Do you understand? No, but I need to talk to you. No, I need to talk to you though, because I'm talking about a person. I want you to understand how to be a decent person in this world, because it's really troubling.
I don't need your understanding of how to be. I don't need your moral relativism.
Okay, listen for 1 second. Don't say moral relativism. I'm talking to you straight, okay? And if you don't have a good father figure, I'll try to be that for you, okay? So right now, when we talk about like this person I'm about to bring up, an innocent person seeking legal asylum who fled from Venezuela, who is doing all the right steps, and they're going to their routine appointment with ICE, and their wife just had them disappear on her, okay? And now they're probably in a labor camp in El Salvador when he should not be. and you bring up the gang members and MS-13, I can only assume you don't care about the other races. I'm sorry, but I can only assume you don't care about that race or that nationality because you are not showing any humanity towards that innocent person that was swept
No, I
up.
care about
And that
the
person
merit of what they
was
do.
following the legal process. He was doing everything right. He was not a problem to
What was
anyone.
his
There was no detainment. There was
What
no
was his name?
camps needed.
What was his
This
name?
person was
What was
going
his name?
through.
What
This
was
person
his
was
name?
going through the legal process. I don't remember the exact name. You could look up the actual case of it happening. I can look up the name, but can you
Right.
please talk about the point I just made? Do you care about that
Lincoln
person
Riley,
at
dude.
all?
Lincoln Riley. I can bring up people too. You want to bring up specific people? Lincoln Riley.
Okay,
Lincoln Riley.
so Laken Riley was killed by a very bad person. I'm talking about government policy that swept up an innocent person, and our U.S. government sent them
and our
to
government policy
a labor
swept
camp.
up Lincoln Riley, and she was killed by somebody who was
No,
actually
someone
supposed
commit
to
a
be in
crime.
court and in the process, but he wasn't because of Democratic
Someone commit
policy of letting
a
people out
crime.
on cheap
Someone
bail.
commit a crime. So you're for sending innocent people to labor camps because someone did something bad somewhere.
You're for people leaving. You're for people leaving the process and going back into society before they've been actually convicted and
This person-
actually handled.
The person
And
had
then going
no
out and
prior
murdering
arrest.
innocent
They
people.
were
That's
here
what you're
going through the
for.
legal
That's what you're
process.
for. That's what you're for.
Can you engage with the points I'm actually making about, like, you bring up the gang members. I'm saying there's a bunch of people in that flight
You're
that were not
bringing
gang
up
members.
specific and individual, very much.
Do you care about any of the people? Do you care about? Okay, I said I already said no. Listen,
Less than
listen,
1% of the people getting
bro.
deported, dude.
I don't think you have a father figure. I don't think you do.
I literally have a dad, dude. Calm down. Just because
Okay.
we come from different understandings of things doesn't mean that I don't have a father figure, dude. And that's a big thing to say,
Well,
dude.
I
You're
want
a
him to be
huge
absent,
big
or not
percent.
be absent. I want him to be involved in your life more, or to teach you some more
He
things
is
about like how to
involved in
treat
my
people.
life more.
Ooh, it might be a
Dude,
bad thing that he's
just because
involved in.
my father figure didn't teach me that anyone can just jump ship into our country no matter what happens, that doesn't mean that he's a
I
bad
didn't say
father figure.
okay. So like, refusing to engage with my points and taking the worst interpretation every single time is bad. I'm just asking. I'm asking. Do you care about the innocent people on the flight because our government, the
I
U.S.
100%
government
care about
sponsored?
them. And I think that they should come back and sue America, and we should pay them thousands of
They
dollars.
can't come back. There's
to
no
be
record
back
of their
in America.
names. There's no record of their names. Now they're in a labor
There's
camp
no
in El
record of
Salvador.
their
They're
name.
probably
There
gonna be
are records of
They're probably
their
gonna be
name.
dead.
You literally said you knew who he was, and all you had to do
No,
was
there's
look him
no
up and tell me what
records
his
of
name
where
was.
they
You made a
are.
record of his name.
There's no records by the government after they were detained. We just know this person disappeared, and that's the only
Dude,
reason we know is because of other people that do have the records.
We 100% have records of all the people we're detaining and sending
No,
over.
the
We're not
White
just
House
putting
literally said they
random
don't.
brown
The
people
White House
onto a
literally
plane
said
and
they
shipping
don't.
them
Yes, the
over.
White House literally said they don't have the information. They don't know who's on the plane. They literally said that in a statement.
That's total.
They
BS.
did pick up. They did add some brown people that were not involved in gangs.
Doesn't mean so
They
many
did find some brown
jurisdictions
people who are
and
not
people
involved in
don't have
gangs.
it.
Do you
They
think
know
there's a
who's on
difference
the plane.
between?
They know who's going over.
They don't. They literally said they don't. Okay, so and they
Pull
kept
it
no
up,
record
pull it
of
up,
it.
pull it up,
When
pull it
they,
up, pull it up.
do you think there's a
Pull it up.
difference between? Do you think there's a difference between one
Now
person?
you're dodging my thing. Pull it up.
Okay,
Pull up that
let
the
me,
White House doesn't have the
calm down,
records.
bro. Your dad is probably a
Now
pussy.
you're dodging. Now you're telling me
Okay,
to calm
chill.
down again.
Just calm
When I
down.
told you to calm down.
Calm
you got
down.
mad at me. You
Does
calm
he
down.
beat you? Listen, I've
What?
been abused. I've been abused.
You
I think
don't
that
feel
you're looking for a parent figure, and I really want to do that for you. Okay. Okay, so
You're not gonna be my daddy, bro.
let's talk about
Shut
the
up.
world. No, I'm just telling you about the world, son. Okay, so when we talk about
Son,
like
it's
someone
great.
doing something bad, do
25,
you think
you're
it's
4 years older than me?
I could still
You're just
birth
as
you
big as
intellectually.
I am, dude.
I could birth you intellectually. Okay, so when
You
we
look
talk about
you're
Laken
so
Riley's
smart,
killer,
dude.
Laken Riley's killer is someone that did something really bad. I agree. So is it different for the U.S. government to have a sponsored policy where they bypass human and constitutional rights to deport someone who's going through a legal process? Because we always say do the legal process, right? Someone going through a legal process can be swept up one day and be sent to an El Salvador labor camp. Is it different when the U.S. government, when the United States government, when the U.S. government can bypass rights and do something terrible to someone versus when a random individual commits a crime? Because I agree that's bad.
I think there's differences, but I think that the terrible stuff definitely needs repercussions, and I agree with you. I think that there definitely needs to be repercussions, and I never said that there shouldn't be. I just think that we need to handle this as fast as possible, and this is the way to do it. And if you don't think that this is the way to do it, then we disagree, and that's okay. But we 100% need to do something about the immigration crisis and doing the whole bringing them to court and doing the legal process thing. I think if it was done all in 24 hours, which it never would be, then I would 100% support that. But because that would take literal years because of the immigration crisis we had over the last 4 years with Joe Biden, there is no way we will ever be able to do
Speaking
that
of
properly.
racism, by the way, I think this is the thing. Are you white?
Yeah, I'm white.
Okay,
What's
I knew
Alex?
that. I knew that already. I knew that. But a black person, if there's any black people in chat, for example, they probably understand why they don't want the court system to happen in one day or be super quick. Because when there's super quick processes, black people got lynched. Okay, black people got
Oh
put
my
to death
gosh.
on death
Are
row
you
when they did not commit
serious
the
right
crime.
now?
When these
You're
processes
equating
are
some very off point of my point as me vouching for lynching, dude.
no, I'm
That
saying
is
that
so
minority
freaking
groups.
intellectually dishonest.
No, listen. No. I'm saying the legal process that you're talking about would have had a black person that was accused of like sleeping with a white girl, for example, down south, would have had them put to death because the legal system would be
throw
against
that
them.
out because,
And
again,
if you
that
want to
was
have a
literally
one-day
just me
trial or
being-
have a
that was
public
literally just me
lynching
not been-
or
that
just
was
like
never
mob
one of my
anger
points.
about an issue,
I never said
like
it had
it can
to be
cause a bad.
24
No, but I'm
hours.
saying what
I'm saying if
I'm
it could
saying what
ideally be
happens.
solved
Listen,
soon,
I'm
then I
saying
would
what
support it. But
happens.
it wouldn't be solved soon. It would be solved over a period of
I'm
25
saying
to 50 years, dude.
I'm not saying that at
There's
all.
hundreds of
I'm not.
thousands
Calm
of
down. You need to calm
Our courts
down.
would be flooded.
No, listen, you don't understand. What happens is you don't have an understanding of how bad it can get when the government uses super extrajudicial authoritarian power,
Oh
or
my
when
gosh.
people do
You are
under mob
so-
control.
You are so programmed by your party, dude. You're so programmed by your party to use all this terminology, extrajudicial and overreach of power and stuff like that. This is literally civics 101 is that this is he's still within his constitutional power to do all of this stuff. He's still within his constitutional power. And for, like that's not an overreach of
Well,
his power.
objectively, they're not following court orders either.
That's your
so it's
point.
also
That's your opinion.
unconstitutional.
Objectively, he's not following quarters of
Yeah.
liberal judges in random liberal states.
There's
You know how
conservative
many
and liberal
of
judges
Joe
that
Biden's
have.
executive orders
He's
we've gotten
ignored.
turned down if
he's
the
ig-
Republicans were as butthurt as Democrats are
He's
right now?
ignored conservative and liberal justices. He's ignored like
They're not
Reagan
real
judges.
conservatives,
He's
dude. They're not real
ignored.
conservative. They're neoliberals that mark themselves as conservatives so that people.
Oh,
just
so you are
blindly
a full
vote for them.
authoritarian. So you're advocating now that the judges are not a co-equal branch of government now, and you're saying that
No,
the
I'm not.
Republican
I'm saying that they're
Republican
not
appointed
really
judges are fake
conservative.
Republicans or fake conservatives. You're saying that
They are
Reagan
fake
and Bush appointees are fake conservatives. No, you're an authoritarian. You're in favor of authoritarian government. I mean,
I'm
people
not-
that are.
oh my
If you're
gosh,
ever concerned with
literally
losing your
putting
freedom
words
to
in my mouth,
government,
bro. You're
your
delusional.
ideology.
You are
Okay, you're
programmed by your
discrediting the
party to
court.
do these things and make
Don't say
attacks
I'm
on
programmed.
people
Make
who are
actual
also
points. Use your big boy
Americans,
words. Use your
who
big
have
boy
all that
words.
concern.
Calm down.
You're programmed to make
Breathe.
these attacks on people, and that's why I've been getting
Use your
frustrated
big
this whole
boy
time.
words.
You keep telling me to calm down.
I am
You keep
definitely
telling me
the
to
one
chill
that's
out
frustrated.
because I'm getting frustrated because you're constantly attacking me this whole time
Calm.
for my very basic political view.
Son.
Don't sun me. You're being
I'm
so.
not
so
sunning you. I'm
annoying.
not sunning you. I'm not sunning you.
You
I don't want
just
to put
said
it. I don't want
son.
to. I don't
You're
want
not
to
my
put
dad.
it. I don't want to
You're
dim your shades.
25 years old.
I don't want to
You're
shade.
just as young as I am, and the fact that you care differently
No,
about
I'm
things,
older than you.
it's okay. We can disagree about stuff, but for you to try and educate me is so freaking ignorant of you because you've been programmed by your party
Actually,
just like
okay.
I've been
Do you think
programmed by
so?
my
For
party to
example,
believe the things I am.
do you think that there's 3 co-equal branches of government?
Yes, I believe in the 3 co-equal branches of government.
Okay, so it doesn't matter if a judge is someone that you consider a fake conservative or a liberal, or do they need to listen to the co-equal branch of government?
I think that a random federal judge can't make decisions for the entire country.
Okay, so you
Especially a
don't
country that
agree.
voted
So you do
entirely
not
for
believe
the
in co-equal
people.
branches of government. You don't agree with co-equal branches of government then, because if
Well,
you
that's
did,
not co-equal, is it? That's not co-equal, is it? For one judiciary
called checks
branch
and
person to make a
balances.
decision for the entire 3 branches of government?
yeah, that's
That's
the
not co-equal,
judicial.
is
That's the
it?
judicial branch's job is
That's
to
checks
review
and
the
balances.
laws. Yeah, that's how the system works. You can say it
All
in a
of
funny
them
voice
have
if you want.
equal power to
I
do
want you to
equal
remember when you
things.
look in the
When
mirror that
he
you're
is in
being really
charge,
pathetic.
he
You're
makes
being
the
really
decisions
pathetic
with
right
the
now.
support of the
No,
Senate
but
and the Supreme Court.
genuinely, you need more role models because you're being really pathetic right now.
You're
That
literally-
is how
you're
that
literally-
is checks
you're
and
literally making
balances.
An intellectual attack after intellectual attack after intellectual attack.
No,
and
your
I'm the one who's being
your
pathetic?
entire life is an intellectual attack on yourself. But like right
You're
now,
literally-
I'm talking about the
you're
checks and
literally- that's what
balances.
you're doing right now. You're calling
I'm
me
talking about the
intellectually
checks and
pathetic
balances
then
in our
trying to
Constitution. This is a
roast
very
me to your
basic
chat,
constitutional
which, by
law.
the way, your viewership has increased 2 times since
This
I've been
is
on here,
very
so I'm actually
this is
beneficial
very
for your
simple
thing.
constitutional law. I don't look at them in the chat. I look at you,
You don't
buddy.
look at them in the chat.
I care
Yeah,
about my
no,
kids. I care about my
You
children.
care about your kids. I'm not one of your
Okay,
kids.
so what I just explained is how the system works with co-equal branches of government and checks and
No, you
balances,
didn't.
and you're
You said that
mocking
a judge
it.
makes decisions for the other 2 branches
Yeah, a
of the government,
federal
which isn't
judge can
co-equal.
offer an injunction. A federal judge can say, for example, stop this process. We need to review it further, see if it's constitutional. You can keep appealing it. It can go to the Supreme Court. Yeah, that's how the system works. You can't just say that's not a real judge because I disagree with them and not follow them. That's not co-equal branches of government then.
You were claiming that they were conservative judges, and I was telling you that they weren't conservative judges.
No, but like Reagan and Bush appointees are pretty conservative justices.
I believe that
even
they're real judges.
even Anthony Scalia, even Scalia would be voting against Trump right now, by the way, because even Scalia spoke about how the executive branch getting too much power is like the biggest threat to our freedom in America. So even Scalia would be against this. There's been Scalia clerks, and there's been people that worked with Scalia that have denied Trump orders, that have actually like prosecutors that have left because of Trump's orders.
Scalia's clerks about what the entire country voted for.
It doesn't matter what the country votes for. It matters what the law is. So like the judicial branch is still a co-equal branch of government. And the country voting for a president by the smallest popular vote margin in history is not a reason to bypass the Constitution completely.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. So
the
when
president's
Trump
not a king.
doesn't win by popular vote, when Hillary wins the popular vote, it's Hillary won the popular vote. Trump didn't actually get elected. But when Trump wins the popular vote, it's the smallest popular vote margin in history. You can make all these claims that you want, but it's still the popular vote.
It's one of the smallest. No. Okay, when Joe Biden won by 7 million popular votes, we were not saying
brainwashed.
When Biden won the popular vote by 7 million, I was not saying he should just like bypass the courts and Congress and bypass the Constitution
but
like you are.
He signed like 4,000 executive orders on his first day, and when people brought up those executive orders to him, he didn't even know what he signed. He was just signing the sheets of paper.
Okay, stay on task. Stay on task. Trump doesn't even know what he's signing when he signs it. He literally is asking what this is before he signs it.
He reads all of them on. He's done it on camera. He asked the dude, "Hey, what's this for?"
Yeah, I know you like the little plays. I know you love the plays. You love the plays. You love watching the little display they put on for you. Okay, so back to like.
Just because they're being transparent,
it doesn't matter. So like for example, the president hypothetically the president can win all 50 states. The president can win the popular vote by 90%, and they would still need to listen to. They would still need to listen to these federal judges, right? Like, even if they win by that much, it doesn't matter. They should still listen to these federal judges. That's how the Constitution
each
works.
branch of government is equally powerful, and two branches of government right now have a mandate that they're pushing, and one branch of government wants to stall it because they don't agree with it. And so the branch doesn't. Are pushing it forward.
The judges are within their right as federal judges to offer injunctions or to block certain things or to have restraining orders. Like it's within their constitutional duties to do that. That's the point of judges and federal judges.
And again, if the Republican judges had done that 3 years ago, you would have called us all butthurt and told us that we're not allowed.
Actually, there's a judge in Texas that Republicans tried to reroute all of Biden's cases to, and Biden listened to that judge. He never went over the judge's rulings. So like we do have a case study for this.
But the fact that you're bringing up means you're still butthurt about it, which means that you guys disagreed with that guy, 100%.
Yeah, we disagree with him, but that doesn't mean we could bypass the Constitution.
And I don't think Biden 100% followed his orders. Biden 100% didn't follow all of his orders.
The thing is, I'm saying we disagree, and that's like how the government works, and we followed it. You're saying you disagree, therefore you can bypass the Constitution. You don't care about the Constitution, co-equal branches of government anymore.
You brought up the 3 co-equal branches of government, and 2 of those branches are moving forward with something that one branch wants to stall. In Biden's case,
yeah, and that's a check and balance. That's a check and balance. What? Yeah, that's checks and balance. And Biden had Congress and the Senate, and he still had to listen to the judges. Yeah, it's fine. One branch can stall the other 2 branches if something's not constitutional, or like that's the point of checks and balances. So no one branch can get too much power.
And what did Trump do then in response? He enacted what? Emergency powers, was it? That's what it was.
That's still reviewable.
He enacted emergency powers, which is within his rights as the president to do.
Are you saying that Trump can enact emergency powers and just execute whoever he wants?
That's not what I'm saying. And you know, if he did that, then people would be breaking the White House and putting him on a pike. You know that. America is going to operate based on what America desires, and it is entirely within the people's rights to vote for people who represent them. And then Trump right now is representing the people who voted for him.
He still needs to listen to the courts.
It's his own executive power, which is constitutionally granted to him, and he is using that executive power to make decisions for the country based on the people who voted for him. And you know what would happen if he exceeded that by hanging people and doing stuff? We would lynch him. It's very simple. It's like,
why would you support a president that's do you think it's bad that he's not, do you think it's bad that he's so like Trump right now is calling to impeach federal judges he disagrees with, and he's calling to like basically defy the court order.
So did Joe Biden.
Joe Biden never called to impeach a federal 100%
judge. He did. He impeached federal judges too. It's a very basic process.
What do you think impeach means? What do you think the word impeach means?
People that align with them. Everybody does this.
What do you think impeach means? What do you think impeach means?
Wake up to America. This is how this
No,
works.
okay. Do you know what impeachment means? Because Biden never impeached a judge. Do you know what impeachment is?
Impeachment is the legal process of removal. It's like what they did to Trump
Yeah,
2 times during his
but
first
Biden did not
presidency.
try to. Biden did not try to remove any judges. Trump is literally saying these judges are not valid. He should be able to bypass court rulings. He should have ultimate power with no checks and balances, and he wants to impeach
Well,
any
he
judge
does
that
have
disagrees
ultimate
with him.
power because he's in emergency powers right now.
Okay, you're
Like,
advocating for a dictator then, because he could be in emergency powers
I'm not
whenever he wants.
advocating for a dictator.
Yeah, you
I'm
are. You're saying he has
advocating
ultimate
for the
power.
president to use his constitutional power to do what the Constitution
Okay, so
says.
you
which
believe
his
the Constitution allows for a
power is
dictator.
that he can take executive action.
You believe executive action and executive power is not bound by any checks and balances. You believe in a dictator.
I
Yeah,
believe
that's what
that
you
his
believe
checks
in.
and balances are in the Constitution that give him the ability to do so. And again,
So you
if-
think that Trump has?
if
So
in
your
instance that he
interpretation, you
doesn't
believe that
follow
Trump
what
has
he
limitless
says he does,
power.
America will take up arms and defend itself. Like
So you're
it
saying
also
no,
says in the
you're literally
Constitution.
okay. You're literally advocating for a dictator that can be toppled if he does bad. You're advocating for a monarch.
I'm advocating for somebody
advocating
who
for a
follows
monarchy.
The Constitution
You're advocating
based on
for
the
a
executive
monarchy,
powers
bro.
allocated to him in the Constitution, which he is
You're literally
currently
advocating for a
enacting.
monarchy, bro.
You're
What the
literally on this
hell?
circular argument that he's not following the Constitution.
You're like,
where did he get the executive power
so your
from?
only check
Where did
and
he get the
balance,
executive power from, dude?
your only check and balance you think is for the executive branch is if the people rise up and topple him. You're advocating for a monarch.
That's
Holy
literally
shit.
in the Constitution.
It's in the
It's literally
Constitution
in
that the president can be a
Constitution for
monarch.
to rise up and topple him if he overexerts his power, which he hasn't. And you know, if you think he has, you and the other 30% of the people in America who think that this is an overreach of his power can take up arms and go to war with him. But you
No,
won't, because
bro,
that's not
you gotta
how this
grow up
works.
someday. Holy
Because
crap.
he is currently
No,
following all of the
we should
laws.
have.
He
He's
has
not
the
following the
executive power to
laws.
do
He's
this.
objectively.
This is
So, like,
under
for
his purview.
example, when he kills USAID without congressional approval, that is against the law. Yeah, see, that's against checks and balances. That's you want a dictator. You're an
He
authoritarian.
literally-
You're a monarch.
It's within his power.
You want a
It's within
monarch.
his power. He's allowed to do it.
That's
He's
not
allowed
within
to
his
do it.
power. No,
It's within his
that's
power.
Congress's power. That's Congress's power. You cannot take away an
And
agency
Congress
without
approved.
Congress writing a law. Congress did not write a law to get rid of USAID.
What happened when he was brought into what is it called? Inaugurated. Sorry, I have a concussion right now. What happened when he was inaugurated?
Yeah.
Who put him in power? How did this happen? Guess what? Congress voted in favor of dissolving USAID. I don't know if I'm sure you wouldn't know about that though because you don't care about it enough. Congress was in support of dissolving USAID. It was billions of dollars to useless overseas programs that did absolutely nothing to benefit America.
Congress has never voted to dissolve USAID.
They
It would need to
they
be an
were in
actual.
support. I misspoke.
It would
I
need to be
misspoke.
actual. It would need to be actual legislation that takes away the
But
branch.
that's
It's
what the
still
Department of Government Efficiency.
so like coming in and destroying. But yeah, that's also the executive branch violating the Constitution because the agencies are made by Congress.
Executive powers. The president
you're saying-
actually has
yeah,
the
but you're
power to do
saying-
things in the country. Surprise, surprise.
You're saying that the president has no checks and balances though. So you're like
He does
objecting
have checks and balances.
against the Constitution. You don't believe the
checks and balances
Constitution.
is the American people.
Yeah, you want a dictatorship. You're saying that we have a dictator, and if the American people don't like it, they need to topple him.
I want.
Yes,
a
okay, say
president
those
who's gonna
words.
do stuff,
You are
and just because
saying you are
that's
saying you want a
doesn't mean it is
dictator.
and you're
You
delusional.
want a dictator. You want a
You're
dictator.
delusional.
And if the American people want him to get out, there's no checks and
You're
balances.
delusional. You're
You're
delusional.
trying to make me
Son, calm
upset,
down.
but you just
You're
sound stupid.
delusional.
You're trying to make me
You're
upset.
delusional. Calm down, son.
Okay.
You're delusional.
Okay.
You're delusional, son. It's okay.
Now
Let
you're
me
trying
teach
to
you.
now
Let me
you're
teach you
mocking what I was
a
saying to you
president
earlier
does.
because you're
Son,
like reaching
son,
for
listen, I think you
some
need a father figure
perspectives.
in your life, dude. I think you need a father
Okay, now
figure
you're
who can
copying what I
teach
said to you
what
earlier.
the
Now you're
president
copying
does.
me. Okay. I said
What
that to
the-
you,
what the
and you were
president
really
does.
offended by
The
it.
president is the head of the
So
executive branch of
I
the
believe
government.
I believe we ran away from kings. We got away from kings when we moved to America. I don't want
Oh yeah,
another
100% we
king
did. And now we have
Yeah,
a
but you want-
president who was elected republicly
republicly. That's interesting.
by the republic.
Frame.
Yes.
Republicly. He was elected
Yes.
republicly, not democratically. Republicly. That's an
No, not
interesting word.
democratically. That's how the country works. We're a democratic republic. He is
He was elected
elected
republicly.
by our representatives. That is by the republic.
He was not elected by representatives. He was elected through
He
the
was
electoral
elected.
college.
That's the electoral college, dude. Are you daft? Like, the electoral college is our
The
representative.
representatives did not vote for president. It can go back to the House. It can if the system does not work. The
Yeah,
House
which it
can
does
vote for
work.
president,
Surprise,
but
surprise!
the
It
House
worked
did not
great
vote.
this time. We got a president that we voted for.
No, but like the point is that you want a president with zero restraints on power to try and solve these
He
issues you
has
think are
restraints on
emergencies.
power. It's the American people.
Can
We
you not
elected
talk for a
him.
second? Like, if you think the
Son,
American
I think you need
people,
a father figure in your life.
if you think the American people, and the people in chat know this too, if you think the American people are the
people in
only
chat.
check and balance against Trump, if you think we need to have a violent uprising to get Trump out
I
of
think-
power, and that's the only check and balance on the
We don't
presidency,
need a violent
you are
uprising.
saying he's a
We
monarchy or a
impeach
dictator.
him.
You're saying that. You're saying he's a monarch or a
What'd you say?
dictator. That's what you're saying.
What'd you say?
You're saying
What'd you
he's
say?
a monarch or a dictator. Yeah.
I never said that.
Or that's what you want.
you could
Okay, so
scroll
you want a
back in the live
system.
stream. I
Okay,
never said I
answer me
wanted a monarch.
correctly. You want a system where the president can use really powerful executive power, bypassing Congress and the judicial branch when he needs to. And the only way we can stop him is if we decide he's bad enough and the American people can rise up and topple him. That's what you're saying.
Let me read you something real quick. I want a system where the president uses the power that is allocated to him by the people, by the Constitution, to make executive orders and decisions for the country that elected him through a very, very dynamic legal process, and therefore make decisions that the people voted for, which we did. And just because you didn't vote for it and are part of the small minority of Americans that didn't vote for it, just because you don't agree with it, doesn't mean that he is a dictator. Guess what? He is enacted by the people to enact what we have asked him to do, and he is doing exactly what we asked him to do. He's doing exactly what we asked him to do.
Yeah, we're cooked. We are cooked. You are advocating for a
We are
dictator.
not
It's
cooked.
really
We are
sad.
doing
It's
great right
scary.
now.
It's very
We're
scary.
going to do great with economics over the
Yeah.
next couple of years. We're going to have
Yeah, great
great
with
legal
economics, yeah.
immigration over the next couple of years. We're going to bring in people who care about America and who can benefit America instead of leeching off
Yeah,
of
true,
America's
Z guy.
supplies.
I agree, Z
This is
guy.
gonna
We
be
are
great.
we are kind of devolving.
We're not devolving. We're gonna be so much better. And just because you don't agree doesn't mean that it's bad. Just because you don't agree doesn't mean it's wrong.
Do you think the founding
It's
fathers,
your
when they
point
made
of view
checks and
versus
balances,
mine.
they wanted the president to be
think?
able just to like when the founding fathers made checks and balances?
are allocated to him in the Constitution. He has been
What, wait,
given
what is
executive power
allocated?
by the
What
Constitution to do
exactly?
things.
So he's given executive power in the Constitution to bypass both Congress and judges whenever he wants.
He's been given. He's currently acting in we're in a, what is it called? I'm sorry. Emergency. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember what the phrase is directly so that you don't take me out of context. He's given emergency powers right now due to the legal precedents which he has taken in order to enact the emergency powers that he's using right now, and that is in our Constitution that he's allowed to enact emergency powers. It's a part of the executive branch. We can't have the entire country making decisions for the entire
Do you think a
country.
president can make laws?
Do I think a president can make laws? No, a president makes executive orders.
So do you think executive orders are laws?
No, they're not laws. They're executive orders.
Do you think executive
what-
orders can contradict laws?
It's what the branches of the government are supposed to do based
Do
on
you think
his
executive orders can
purview.
contradict like Congress's laws though?
I
Can
think
you
that,
write an executive order like?
executive orders oftentimes don't perfectly align with laws.
Do you think
Because
the
and to say that Democrats don't make executive orders that align with laws
okay,
either.
stay
but
okay.
it would be
I need to
foolish.
calm down for just the end of this conversation. Okay, so
I'm
like,
calm,
it's the
dude. Stop telling me to calm down. I'm fine. Shut up.
it's the judicial branch's job explicitly to review executive actions. Do you disagree with that?
I don't disagree with that.
Okay, so if they review an executive action that Trump does and they say, "Hey, this
Yep.
is unconstitutional," does Trump need to listen?
Trump, not in an emergency power, not during emergency powers. It's
Okay,
his
so if
purview
Trump
during
declares an emergency power, you believe all
It's a
checks and
national
balances
emergency,
are
yep.
void. Okay.
It is a national emergency. Yes, that is how the system works. In a national emergency, the executive member, the president, which is the executive member of the executive branch, makes the decisions ultimately in the end. And that
So, like,
means
if,
that he can press the big red button. That means he can do whatever he wants.
If President
But
Trump
guess-
picked like I don't know, if President Trump wanted to assassinate Chuck Schumer's or like put him to the death penalty, and the judges said no, could Trump still do it if we're in a national emergency and he says that Chuck Schumer supports
By the
Palestine
time that Trump
protesters?
tries to do that, the military will uprise against him, the people will uprise against him, and we will
I'm
reshape
asking
America.
you if you think constitutionally he should be able to do that, or do you think the Constitution
I
allows
think
him
that
to
his
do that?
emergency powers give him power over specific circumstances. And,
So do you
and
think-
this is one of
do you
those
think-
specific circumstances?
In this, so you're saying in this specific
I
circumstance
know
it
you're
might
trying to find a
justify.
red herring argument to really tear me down, but you're not going to, dude.
No, you're
Like-
just
like-
you're just claiming that you're claiming the Constitution delegates power that the president can declare national emergency whatever he wants,
and pick random people to go die
saying-
overseas.
you're saying that the president can
Do you
have the
think that
executive
the
power.
president's allowed to pick
Can you
random
stop
people
talking
to
for
go
2
die
seconds?
overseas? You
Come
think
on,
that
dude.
they're
I
allowed
know
to
I know
die
you have more
overseas?
self-control than this. If you have to mute me,
No,
'cause
I'm going to
you
do
don't-
red herring arguments too. Do
No,
you think
okay,
the
I'm
president's
just
allowed
trying
to
to
pick
talk to
random
you.
people to go die overseas? How about that? Do you think that's legal? How about the Democratic
Do
presidents
you
who sent
think?
millions,
Do you think if
millions of
there's a
Americans to
national
war in the past?
buddy,
Oh,
do you think
with emergency
do
powers.
you think if there's a national emergency that the president can order
Do you think if
that?
there's a national emergency that the president can send millions overseas for
Do you think
war?
that? Do you think if there's a national emergency that the president can execute his political opponents?
Do you think
legally?
that if there's a national emergency, we can send people overseas for war? We're gonna loop this back and forth because
No,
you're
I
using
wanna-
an argument that doesn't
I
make
asked
any
you
sense, and I'm using an argument that does make sense. And so I'm not gonna entertain your stupid argument.
You just
You're-
agreed with
you
my
need a
argument.
father
You said
figure
under
to tell
certain
you what the-
circumstances, because
what
I'm
the
trying to find where
executive
I'm trying to
powers
find
are.
where your limit on executive power is. I'm trying to see if you have
I'm
any
trying to
limits
find
on
yours.
executive
So
power.
you think that the president's allowed to ship people overseas in wartime?
Well, in my opinion,
To
they
go die
should
in
not be able
trenches.
to without Congress's approval. But what's your
Without
opinion?
Congress's approval.
Yeah, they ought to.
That's
But what's
approval.
your opinion on the executive overreach? What's your opinion on where like Trump would have to stop, or do you think he has ultimate power
I
during
think
national
that if
emergency
there
times?
was ever legitimate executive overreach, America would take back its government.
Okay,
which
I'm
is what
asking,
we
do you
would do-
think
we
do
would
you
do.
think according to the Constitution that Trump could hypothetically kill Chuck Schumer if he thinks Chuck Schumer's too pro-Palestinian?
I think that is an erroneous red herring argument.
Just answer the
That-
question. You
that
can say
would
yes or
never
no.
happen, dude.
Just say
That
yes
would
or no.
never
It doesn't
happen.
matter.
That is
Okay,
fantasy in your mind.
we use
Like,
hypothetical
come on,
because
man.
what you said before it happens. What if it did happen? Do you think the Constitution allocates that power?
Do I
in
think the
national
Constitution
emergencies?
allocates the power of the president to send people to die?
No,
I mean,
to
it
like
does. It does
to
for the
g- to,
draft.
like, okay, should he be able to take if he says, for example, there's a leader of a protest in America, a leader of BLM, they're a danger to America, we're in national emergency, or let's say there's a person freeing every immigrant and like having an underground railroad into America with immigration, and it's an American citizen, they have a nonprofit to help out immigrants, and he says this person's helping aid the invader. Do you think he can take that person under national emergency power and kill them without execute them
I
without
think any reasonable
legal
American
process?
would answer the question exactly how you want them to.
No, I just want to know what your opinion is on when the executive
My
power
opinion
ends.
is on that. So here's the thing, and I'm going to call it ahead of time. When I say that is an overreach of your thing, you're going to be like, oh, but Trump is sending people overseas to death camps, which he's not.
No, I'm
because
literally
that's
just
something
asking
that-
if Trump can, because you're saying that there's no limit, essentially. If a court tells Trump not to do something, you said he could just do it. There's no checks and balances on Trump. So
There
like,
is a moral limit to what he can do in his executive
there's a
power.
moral limit, but you think the
There-
Constitution, do you think the
If
Constitution
anyone- if
allows for
anyone
any
used
national
the
power?
Constitution to murder somebody, then yeah, that would be an overreach of his power.
So like,
And
here's in the Constitution.
Not legally, but morally, it would be an overreach of his power.
So even if you're in a national emergency, it gives so in the Constitution there's a lot of authority for national emergencies for sure, but there still is
Right.
the Constitution. The Bill of Rights is still applicable. The courts can still strike down actions that are unconstitutional. It still can, and the power of Congress's purse with like cutting federal agencies even
Yeah,
under
but does
national
the-
emergency,
Does the
Trump will
legal
still be
precedent
violating the
Trump is-
Constitution.
Does the legal precedent Trump is using violate the Bill of Rights?
So like
It doesn't. It doesn't. By the way, it doesn't because he's allowed to ship people off without violating.
for like detaining the Palestine protesters, for sure it violates First Amendment, probably fifth and
But they
sixth too.
They detained the
Um,
MAGA protesters who went into the Capitol. Oh,
Yeah,
why'd
but
they do
that
that?
wasn't. Yeah, because
Why'd
they
they do that?
broke into the Capitol during
Yeah, and the
the
Palestine
proceedings of the
protesters
election.
burned down cars and burned down freaking buildings.
No, they just took someone under First Amendment for their speech. That's why they detained
They
Khalil.
took somebody under the First Amendment for their speech.
Yeah, I
What?
mean it's basically for what they said. They detained Khalil. They never
Because
even
they were
accused of a
gonna-
crime.
Because they said they were going to assassinate President Trump. Was that what they said? Isn't it illegal that people?
No one said no. There was no claim of that even made.
What case are you talking about specifically?
And like for Japanese internment camps, for example, the
All right,
Supreme Court
that's not
upheld it.
surprising. You're going to run away from that one because I
No,
want
but
you
I
want to
get back to the.
You don't want to.
I'm talking about the executive power. So in the
I want to get
Constitution,
back to it. No, you don't. You're going to use red
I'm
herring
saying that,
arguments and offshoot
in the
arguments, and then when
Constitution-
I ask you to bring up facts, you won't because you're just going to use emotional
I'm
appeals to your
I'm
audience
reading
that
the
are gonna support
Constitution
you.
to you. I am reading the Constitution. If you think those are emotional appeals, you got to get out of this, small dog.
No, it's
Okay, so
not.
like in the Constitution,
Me saying who did they
national
arrest for
emergency
violating the
powers.
First Amendment?
Okay,
You're
national
so
emergency powers
delusional.
does not
You're
allow the
brainwashed.
Constitution to be overridden. I'm just saying. You said that there's almost no limits on the executive power except for the people toppling the president, but that's not true in the Constitution.
That's the limit.
The courts are still there. The Congress is still there. The co-equal branches are still there. National emergency power does not make an American president dictator because our
doesn't
founding
make
fathers
it
were
dictator,
very
you're right.
keen to be against kings. So like with the internment camps, the Supreme Court upheld that in 1944. So they upheld that. But if the federal courts strike something down and Trump ignores them, he is violating the Constitution, plain and simple, regardless of what you think the emergency
he's using a
is.
legal precedent. He's using a legal precedent.
There's not a legal precedent for ignoring the court order.
He's literally using a what was it called? I'm sorry. I'm trying. It's late. I'm trying to figure this out. He's using a policy that was put in place, yes, very long ago, but he's using that counts as legal precedent for him to do the things he's doing right now, and he absolutely has the mandate to do those things.
Okay. Well, every time
He
that
has
president's
the
ever, kid, did you really just wait to talk until I talked again? Like, come on, you're a child.
Sorry,
Okay,
there's
so
a little latency between us. So
shut
sometimes when you start
up, just
talking,
shut
I start
up, you
thinking,
smelly
No,
butt.
you're being
Okay, so
unreasonable. There's latency.
every time,
sir.
pretty much every single time that a president has gone against federal courts, it's been for internment camps or it's been for detaining political enemies. Like it's always been for really bad
Well,
things.
you
I'm
guys
just
are the
saying
ones that are
that
internment camp.
I just want to make it clear for everyone watching as well. The Constitution does not allow a president to ignore courts because of emergencies or because they say a court doesn't count because they're too liberal or whatever. Trump is openly violating the Constitution every single day, calling himself a king. That's what he's been doing. Yeah,
so
Nixon ignored the courts.
emergency
Abraham
powers under the
Lincoln, Andrew
Constitution allows him to
Jackson.
suspend habeas corpus, which is the right to challenge one's detention. The Emergencies Act of 1976 allows him to seize property or assets, impose financial sanctions, regulate commerce or trade, restrict imports or exports.
Nothing
of
allows
certain
him
goods,
to ignore the federal court ruling. It does not allow him to ignore rulings. You can disagree with
I'm
laws
sorry, I was reading
or
the
appellate
policy.
courts, for example, but he cannot just ignore the rulings according to the Constitution. It's still unconstitutional. You can read out other legal rulings, but we're looking for legal rulings in these cases to see if they stand or not. So if a federal judge says, don't do this thing, don't fire these workers because it's illegal firings, or like
but they were already
don't
on the
kill these
plane.
departments or
They were
whatever.
already flying.
I'm talking about the federal workers being fired for these positions illegally, or the investigators generals,
Oh,
or
that's a different argument. You don't want to get into that.
I'm talking
buddy.
about constitutional powers. I'm just saying what Trump is doing is unconstitutional. If you don't understand that or you don't care, you're just too emotional and dumb to understand it. It's okay.
You're
It doesn't
emotional
matter.
and dumb. You're also delusional. You're programmed. You're completely off the
Yes,
rails
I am
about your
programmed.
opinions.
I'm very
you're
programmed by reading the
100%.
Constitution to you. I'm sorry you don't like the
You're
Constitution. I'm
reading
sorry
all
that
of your
offends you.
liberal media that tells you that you should
The
be panicking
Constitution
right
is now
about the
liberal media,
president.
guys. The Constitution is liberal media
You're not
confirmed.
reading the Constitution.
The
because if I
Constitution
read
is
you any of
liberal
the acts
media
that I'm reading right
confirmed.
now, what?
The Enemies Act? Do you think that was in the Constitution? You dumbass. What the hell do you think that was in?
I didn't say it was in the Constitution. I said if I'm reading different. I'm reading
Wow.
different things about.
Do you know that the
Trump's
Enemies Act means we
executive
have to declare
powers.
war? What do we declare war on? Did Congress declare war on a country? I don't know about.
The national emergency is in response to a wide variety of crises. It's not generally in war. It can be. It could be a different amount of
No, I'm
crises.
talking about the
And right
actual
now, we're
acts,
crisis
the
at
actual
the
Enemies
border.
Act. So like the things under review by the courts that they said to stop, and then he sent innocent people to death camps. You know,
Hold
because
up.
of
I'm
that.
gonna pull up that act so that I can read it and have better. Hold up.
Wow.
The Aliens Enemies Act of 1798.
No, I'm not gonna ask him that. Do you think Joe Biden ignored the Constitution and judges to pass student loan cancellation?
What? You didn't
Do you
pass
think-
student loan cancellation.
Do you think he ignored the courts though?
I don't think so. I think he had precedent to do so. He can
Okay.
make executive orders just like Trump did. But I don't think it didn't ever pass, did it? It didn't ever pass. Yeah, my student loans still exist. So that never passed. That got shut down. Like he tried to, but it didn't pass. It didn't pass.
But he didn't
House
just
of
ignore the
Representatives?
court. He didn't just ignore the court ruling though, right? He listened to it.
I don't know about that. I don't know enough about that. So yeah, I suppose for your argument, he didn't ignore the court ruling. And I know you're going to your chat so that they can, give you some ideas to ask me some questions. But let's like the Alien Enemies Act has been invoked 3 times during major conflicts. So World War I, World War II, 1812. And it was used, and I'm ceding ground to you, by the way. It was used to intern people, but I'm going to kind of put a little bit of a twist on this. To use the act to intern people doesn't mean that the precedent for the act is to intern people. And he's using this act to deport people, which is reasonable, in my opinion. And not only that, the solution that you're providing, which is that we should throw them through the court system, in which they will not receive 100% perfect trials. It will take years to solve the immigration crisis. And him using this act gets it done in weeks, months, maybe a year or two. We get this done in a year or two, and then we can go back to normal. So for now, you might not agree with it, you might not like it, but that's his power that he has given to him by the people of the United States and the Constitution to enact these emergency powers.
Yes,
And
he
guess what?
has power to ignore courts and Congress. Yes.
He's using the
Yes.
National Enemies Act, which
And also,
it's fine for
like,
him to
he is
use.
not dealing with the problem. He's not dealing with whatever the problem is. You're just
I'm
hyped up off the
pulling
media.
I'm literally
You're
reading the act to you.
thinking there's a natural mercy right now on that basis is freaking insane. Oh my god. I hope you get your dictator someday. I hope you cheer when all the liberals are put in camps. It'd be so awesome.
I'm not going to cheer when the liberals are put in camps. I'm going to pick up
No, you're
arms
gonna
and
say
I'm going to go to war for them. I'm going to go for war with them because I don't want my fellow Americans to be subjected to this kind of internment that you're proposing, to be subjected to years of internment.
Yeah, dude. Just ignore everything I ever said in this conversation. That's perfect.
To be enacted by the state House of Representatives of America, Congress assembled that whenever there should be declared war between the United States and every foreign nation or
So
any
has Trump like
invasion or
proposed any
predatory
solution for the
incursion shall be
immigration system?
perpetuated, attempted, or threatened against the territory of the United
$83,
States.
Ross.
So there, right there, is the precedent. All the precedent he needs. Any invasion or predatory incursion, the United States by any foreign nation
That's
or
a
government.
foreign nation. It's a foreign nation or government. It's not if you think you're being invaded by
The President of the
immigration
United
that you could
States
just
shall
like
make public
crack down on the country and use the
proclamation of
military.
all native citizens,
You just said the part that matters. If there's a war, it's not just
who shall be within the United States, not actually naturalized, but shall be liable to be
So do you
apprehended,
think we've had a
restrained,
crisis
secured,
in America for the
delivered,
past like 40 years with immigration or 50 years? Because our crime rate's going down a lot. It's been going down for like 40 years. So like what?
I
Like,
think that the crisis isn't the fact that we have crime. I think the crisis is that the crime is them crossing the border illegally, and that's all.
So-
That's all the emergency we need.
illegal border crossings is enough to take away constitutional rights.
They don't have constitutional rights. They're not American citizens.
You don't think non-American citizens have constitutional rights? You are cooked, bro.
I think they are allocated.
I gotta get you
some
on a
constitutional
call.
rights. They don't.
Can I want to get you on a call with someone. I have a friend who makes content who's a lawyer, okay?
So,
Would you talk to
is this
them?
one of those other YouTubers that what? Well, I mean, dude, I have work tomorrow morning.
No, not
so
tonight. Not
give me a-
tonight.
give me
Just
a-
in general. Can I get your info? Do you have a
You know
Discord?
what? Absolutely, I'd be willing to. Again, I'm not normally.
Because he can go through more of the legal stuff with you. He'd go through more of the legal stuff with you because he'll know the laws
would
better.
this be for more content for you guys, or would this be just that he can teach me what I'm saying wrong?
Well, I mean, we'd be streaming, but it'd be more so because he can cite like the legal doctrine like directly, like with the law
So
says, and he's
essentially,
a
you want
lawyer.
me to
So
debate a lawyer because you bringing up straw man and emotional arguments.
no, he'll
isn't
bring up the
working
same.
against me.
I mean, I'm citing constitutional law, but he'll be able
You're
to cite it more
hardly-
directly.
Oh my gosh, he's using the Constitution to bring up these things. He's allowed to go into a state of emergency.
Hey, would it be like
He's allowed to do this.
No, you can't just bypass the judicial branch in any of this, or they're co-equal branches.
He's literally allowed to bring up the state of emergency.
Yeah.
For the
National emergency
exact reason.
powers does not mean that you can make the other two branches useless. That's
but
not what national emergencies mean.
But the act in 1798.
Actually, the
does.
founding fathers, like, just really quick, I'm getting off. But
Sure.
the founding fathers made it a point to make our system more slow moving and have due process. And even the England system of courts had due process.
For Americans,
It's
yeah,
a point
for
to be
American
slow.
citizens.
It's a point to be slow moving because they knew that quick moving systems were more prone to authoritarianism. So like
course.
what you're advocating for would lead to that. But I just want to say, if you have Discord, just send me a text or something with your username. I'll set you up. We'll talk about a time to have you talk to them. Okay, and we'll talk through the actual law of it. and I'm
Sure,
getting
but
tired.
here's
But
the thing that's gonna happen. And I'm fine with sending you my username. But here's what's gonna happen is I'm gonna be going up against a lawyer who knows all the loopholes and legal terminology, and I'm gonna be completely out of my league,
well,
dude.
no, that's
So this
okay
is
though. You should want to learn more. You should want to learn more. He goes through this
I
conversation. There's
want to learn
like,
more, but I don't want to learn from somebody who disagrees with
oh
me.
my
Okay, now
god, you have to grow
let me
up,
clarify. Let
dude.
me clarify. Let me
Okay,
clarify before you blow
send me
up.
your
You
message. Send
little
me your
Democrat
message.
little
Send me
guy.
your messages. Send me your message. Send me your Discord name. I'm tired. Thank you guys for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe. Thank you for the donations. I got 2 donations. I know someone said come on a 3-way call. I don't have a three-way call possibility. I am exhausted. I did not want to talk that long. Freaking 2-hour phone call is insane. I want to get him set up with Pisco. If you guys know Pisco. Why would I want to learn from someone who disagrees with me, dude? Like how? I only want to learn from people who agree with me. That's how I'm gonna learn. Only if you agree with me. How? Why would I learn from someone who doesn't disagree with me? It seems like this conversation is unproductive. Yeah, I know it's unproductive. I know. You think I think it's productive? Anyways, like when someone says that a president can use emergency powers to do anything, that is what the unitary executive theory argues. But that's what a dictatorship sounds like. When you say that if the president does something that bad, then the society will rise up and topple him, that's a dictatorship. That's what that means. And that's what the Project 2026, or 2025, that's what all these different legal theories entail, is getting power for the executive branch. And yeah, the Proud Boy Handbook. Mandate equal mob rule. Yeah, it's literally asking for a monarch, and if the monarch messes up too bad, the society will topple them. But I don't think they understand what they're actually advocating for. They're advocating for an authoritarian society. It's just how it is. I only want to, whatever. Thank you, Sri, for $3. Thank you, Sri, for $5. Thank you, Barry, for three Canada dollars. Canada dollars. Thank you, Connor, for $2. I want to learn how right I am. Thank you for the donation. I'm surprised Trump supporters can tie their own shoes. Thank you, Judith, for $5. Thank you, World Raves for $1. Thank you, Judith, for another $2. Too emotional, crying, get them out. Well, I had to. I don't know, bro. It's a time. Thank you for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe if you have been watching. Thank you, CM initials as well on Cash App for the donation. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate the Cash App donation. Thank you. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Thank you for all the donations. If you want to donate to the show, Jolah Politics on Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. Jolah Politics, JOLAH Politics. You can see it on the screen. Jolah Politics. You could also donate through the Coffee link to use credit cards, or if you want to donate through that. The Coffee link is secure. That's a really good place to donate as well. Channel memberships are $3 a month. So if you want to support independent media long term, I made it $3, so it's cheap enough for people who don't make that much money but still have a couple extra dollars, and it's also expensive enough to add up to help me support my channel. I think we're at like 110 channel members right now, so thank you so much for all the support. So $3 for channel memberships. You get a green name in chat. I will add emotes someday. Try to call the number. I'm dying. Thank you. I have to go to bed. I gotta go to bed. I wanted to get off at 1 o'clock tonight. Thank you guys. W stream, thanks. A perpetual rulership. Yeah. Your lost son. I don't know why I said that, by the way. I feel like I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I insulted the guy. I insulted the kid's father. I don't know why I insulted the kid's father. I don't know why. I don't know why I insulted his father. Why'd I do that? I don't know why I did that. Didn't send any money. Oopsie poopsie. Yeah, I know. I know. I don't need money. I'm just saying if you have extra money, you donate it if you want. You don't need to though. I would actually say don't, because I'm not worth it. Too late to apologize. Too late. It's too late to apologize. Yeah. Was that good, dude? Was that good? You recommend not giving my credit card info? The credit card through coffee is through their, it's actually through PayPal. It's a PayPal processing, so it's not me. You're not giving your credit card to me, dumbass. Yeah, I have the phone line shut off because I'm going to bed. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. One Republic. Don't bring up Whit Lowry anymore, dude. I feel like it's hard to argue against those super emotional arguments of like we're in emergency right now. I feel like just like go outside and walk around and look around you. Like, do you think we're in an emergency? Are we at wartime right now? Do we have to send innocent people to death camps? Like I just don't. Just from a perspective of crime in America, you know. The situation with crime in America was much worse 50 years ago. You would have just been able to justify being in wartime at like literally all of American history. This is the least wartime we've ever had in human history. I mean, it's coming back because of, you know. Nice. Nice. Oh, we're at 23,777 subscribers. 23,777 subscribers. Thank you guys for all the support. So many subscribers. Should I send Pisco? Shut up. You're a drama king. Good luck. You know, calling me a drama king is exactly what a drama king would do. I'm not gonna lie. Why did someone request $1,000 in Cash App and say great stuff? Screw you. I'm blocking you on Cash App if you don't donate to me now, Chris. CM. You suck. Screw you, buddy. You're a D-bag. Good luck. Thank you, free Dom. I hope you're enjoying Dom play. Whatever that means. I don't know what that means. Ukraine is getting aggressively bombed right now. Probably the most of the entire war after Trump said there was a ceasefire agreement that never happened. That's awesome. Thank you, Trump. It's really cool.
New donation from the deep state. $10 shout out Whit Lowry.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for $10. Why do you call me Whit Lowry? Okay, you're getting banned, Chris. You're done. You're done, bro. You're freaking done, bro. Wait, twice? Wait a second. Oh, it just came up twice. You're getting banned from Cash App. You're getting banned right now, bro. Here you go. Thanks. You're lucky I don't make actual money, because I would have sent you money by accident. Here you go. Can I shut that off? Thank you. Thank you, Sri. Thank you. Thank you, Deep State. I You guys see the Harry Sisson drama? Harry Sisson convinced 11 different women he has no roster and respected them for more than their bodies while persuading them to send explicit photos of themselves through Snapchat, including one from a domestic abuse survivor. When the women discovered each one by one, he called them all insane and attempted to coerce them into telling them Coerce one of them into telling the public that the photos were fake. A request to the reader, set political differences to the side. I believe both sides of the aisle can agree this is unacceptable behavior from a man-child with collectively over 2 million followers. How old is Harry Sisson? Did he do anything illegal or like, I mean, 23? How old was he when he did it? Dean's only 20. So Dean's 20, Sisson's 23. Is interesting. I mean, that's pretty typical college behavior. It's not good, but it's pretty typical college behavior regardless. Huh. Interesting. Okay. That's a little... Damn, you are attractive. He says, she says, psh, stop. Then she says, don't. So like, don't stop. And then he says, I'd interact with you in a sexual manner with no protection after wine tasting, but that's just me! Exclamation point. That's insane, dude. The liberal Riz is crazy. It's crazy. But either way, she says, I don't know. He calls her attractive. She says, stop. Actually, don't stop, with a winky face. And then he says he wants to intercourse with her. Set political differences to the side. Unacceptable behavior. Unacceptable behavior is interesting. Unacceptable. What is unacceptable behavior? It's not good. Like, don't do that. Don't do that at all.